morning and welcome to the Six Invitational! I love it. Welcome to day one, and this time it's different. We saw the group stages, we saw the playoffs, but this time around, it's the main stage, baby. But ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to my desk. I'm Belly, I'm gonna be your host right now for this first match, but right next to me, we have my man Dev Martin from APAC and also Imzo. Fellas, how do you feel?
It's an amazing occasion to be here in Montreal, the home of Rainbow Six, the biggest event that Rainbow Six has ever seen. And we have some amazing matches ahead of us.
Yeah, don't you hear the crowd, man? These guys are crazy, ready for some matchups. Imzo, how excited are you to be here?
I think the crowd sums it up how I feel inside right now. Just popcorn. It's just crazy how exciting it's gonna be. I mean, the week already has been nuts, and it only gets crazier from here. Like, I know sometimes I'm calm on the desk, but I'm ready to jump onto that stage myself. It's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're definitely bringing the hype today, but in case those of you missed stage one, stage two, and everything in between, let's do a little recap. Stage one, let's bring up the groups, because Dev, heading into this event, who are your favorites to win?
I think that a lot of people were looking at teams like Empire, who won the Raleigh Major just 6 months ago, even G2, despite having that bit of a lull. Yeah. That was us favorite team. Na'Vi as well, winning Pro League finals. I think a lot of people were also hyping up some of the North American teams, though, despite them not winning any championships yet.
All right, Imzo.
I mean, North America showing up. That's what I wanted to see. We've got some strong contenders, and we're on home turf. I'm super excited about that. A little heartbroken for EU, you know, having some trouble. But APAC, coming on in, so.
Fnatic looking good, man. And speaking about teams and groups, let's start off with the top, Group A. So Group A, no Empire, and this is APAC Rising.
This is one of the groups of death. We had multiple groups where you look at all the teams, you're like, damn, they all should be on the main stage. Team Empire taken out. They got through Fnatic first, but then dropped to both Darkseer and Fnatic, who came through to join DZ in the top two out of the group. Bit sad for FaZe. This was one team from each region, and unfortunately, FaZe couldn't make it out.
What was your biggest upset of Group A?
I mean, obviously it was Empire going out. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoy watching Empire play, and just only getting to see them play that few matches, a little disappointing, but they're not going anywhere. They'll be around. It's just not for the rest of this event.
You got that right. In Group B, this is my favorite group. I called it the Group of Death, but realistically, this is the rise of NA. Tell me more about it.
This is the group of rivalry. NA versus EU, and boy, did we see NA. EU could only beat each other at this point just to barely stick around long enough. And TSM and SSG, such strong contenders, they were only able to beat each other. TSM only dropping to SSG. That rivalry gonna continue.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hot, and I think Group B sums up the event for me.
Now, how mind-blown are you for the fact that the Pro League champions in Na'Vi, they didn't make it through, and also the heartbreak with Rogue?
Yeah, I think Rogue, in particular, you know, they're not at the event anymore. They've already gone home. It was a huge heartbreaking moment for that team that's been through tribulation after tribulation.
Yeah.
Na'Vi as well. They hit new heights in Season 10, and we just haven't seen that consistency moving into Six Invitational. That said, EU Pro League is still stacked, and I'm sure we'll see them rise again.
Most definitely. Now, Group C. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a new king in Latin America.
Yeah, I can't believe it. NIP, I mean, they've just been growing in strength. They've been so good at this event. And obviously, not all of Latin America come on top here. You had FaZe in a different group, but it didn't really matter either. It was just who's king of Latin America here, and it's NIP.
Yeah, this is the Latin American group with giants from APAC in there, the Singaporeans. And look, they had such a good Season 10 defeating Rogue, but unfortunately, they really dropped the ball this event. I think they were expecting more out of themselves. But to talk about those Latin American teams, Liquid also going out.
What happened?
That bewildered me completely, because Liquid going into this event, they were one of my favorites to take the whole thing. SSG Lycan from SSG said that he feared them after they won the OGA Pit Minor. But no, it's NIP that makes it through unscathed.
Now, Group D. That was a tricky group. No one expected what was going to happen. Yeah, BDS, G2, Reciprocity, and also Wild card. Sorry, I slipped up for a second. Now, Reciprocity, they had a heartbreaking loss to BDS. So BDS and G2, they went through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised by Reciprocity's performance, but I feel like they're still struggling a little bit with losing Skies. Nyx is a good performer, but something's a little bit off. And unfortunately, they suffered for it. But you know what? They got to be here. Maybe not on the main stage, but they're representing in a lot of lands now, and I love to see it. But BDS, the surprise to make it through the last out for EU, because G2, I kept hyping them up, and boy, do I look a little foolish at this point, because G2 just defeated themselves at the last minute, and sad to see them go, but you know what? They put up a good fight. BDS, though, here to represent.
Unlike Empire, at least G2 made it out of groups.
There you go.
There you have it. So also, Stage 2. Stage 2 was a bloodbath. Let's take a look at the bracket so far. What really pops out at you, Dev Marta?
I think that the huge storyline here is coming from those quarterfinals through the upper bracket, all 3 North American teams who made it to playoffs came through the upper bracket, Fnatic also, and we saw EU and Latin America drop down into that lower bracket, and in fact, G2, look, we've talked about this so much.
Yeah.
G2 fell. The first time they've ever lost a match at a Six Invitational was 2-1 to Fnatic, and then they followed that up 2-0 to NIP. Our reigning champions have been taken down.
Yeah, now, Emzo, this is the first time ever in the Six Invitational where we introduced a double elimination bracket. Now, looking at teams like BDS and NIP, how great is it for them to build up that momentum to try to make it all the way towards the end?
You know, adaptation is the key to this game, and having a double elimination bracket lets you make those changes. You have off days. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And all these teams that are here today prove they can marathon it out, that they are not going to hit that brick wall until maybe perhaps Sunday. But it's still, that's the thing, is proving who's the best of the best. That's what this event's all about. That's why we're making sure everyone gets a second chance to say, I am the best, I just had an off day.
Now, for those of you that are visual learners and you happen to miss Stage 2, we put together a nice piece to get you up to speed.
Defending operators, they need to make their move now. They catch him, and hot and cold! Oh my God! Seconds left, Geo will need to find the last member of Ninjas in Pajamas. He has the marks, and Geo clutches it! TSM by the skin of their teeth!
This is over, ladies and gentlemen. Space Station Gaming go up to 7 and claim map number 2 in their favor. A 2-0 victory for them.
You go. The Pengu's there, Lusty gun out, some damage done to the Goyo around the corner. Who's better? Lusty is, and Fnatic is the first team to take out G2 at the Six Invitational. Magnet. Today 1v3, he's been spectacular.
Both are one-shotable as well. Canadian moves in to finish off the job, and SSG taking on round number 11.
2 kills for Ninjas in Pajamas, and that's it. There will be a new world champion.
First, doesn't get the correction this time, and he does. Downs them both, and that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. BDS finally close out on their second attempt to hold on to the basement.
What a beautiful piece! Stage 2! But now, this is the main stage. Throw the bracket on the screen. Let's see what the matchups are so far. Dev Marta, we already know what to expect at the top. We have TSM against Space Station Gaming, and to me, that one is special. Because on that team, both of those teams, you have the duo of Merc and Foltz facing off against each other.
That's exactly right. And old, I guess, comrades, now rivals. And we know for certain that one of TSM or Space Station will make it into that grand final, not only just into it, but also with a one-map advantage in the best of 5, which is a huge benefit to them. But that's happening tomorrow. It's first, we're going to have to go through the lower bracket and see which one of these teams is going to progress forward.
Now, day number 2. Oh, that's going to be a good one. On the 15th, we're going to have them face off. But then also on the loser side of the bracket, what are you most excited about?
I'm most excited to see who can really persist here because, like I said, it's a marathon. You got to take your lumps, and you got to be prepared for North America towards the end. And that's why I'm excited about Dark Zero still being in that lower bracket to potentially make this an all-NA finals. I mean, there's still potential even for, I believe, an SSG TSM grand final if it works out that way. Either way, it's going to be really exciting, and I think the hammer stays home here in Canada. I don't think it's leaving. We've got 2 Canadian representatives as well on TSM and SSG. So
yeah, and for today, ladies and gentlemen, the first match of the day is going to be Apex, Last Hope, and Fnatic in the French with Shaiko and BDS Esport. They'll be playing the first game of the day. After that, we have a great show match with some nice content creators. Last game of the day, Dark Zero Esports versus Ninjas in Pajamas. Is Dark Zero a LAN team now?
I think honestly, once they picked up Eclipse and Skies, they shored up what they needed to do for LAN, and they've shown up. Absolutely. I mean, we had them warming up in Japan. They made the roster changes, and they've only been stronger since. Honestly, with a team like that, if Eclipse shows up today and Hot stays as hot as he's been, they're taking it.
Who knows? Hey, let's see what's going to happen day 2. Already said off the top, we're going to have TSM facing off against Space Station Gaming. How important is it that Canadian finds himself back in the finals?
Oh man, it's been 3 years since Canadian won the inaugural Six Invitational, and to be honest, going through this entire event, I can't think of a more impressive storyline than the reclaiming of that Caber for Canadian.
Yeah, and we also have some big surprises for you. We have the season panel on day 2. Day 3, which is on Sunday, we have another panel. So it's a big gift from Ubisoft themselves. And of course, we're going to have the grand final. But this is where the fun really starts now. Who do you guys think is going to take it all? Who's going to lift the hammer at the end of the day?
As biased as it sounds, I want to see Troy lift it again. I want to see the passion that man has shown at this event. It is heart. He is ready to lift it, man. I mean, Troy's taken his lumps. He's had his ups and downs. He's had his struggles. But the man's still here. He's still waiting. He's Canadian is his name. He's here to represent his country and take that hammer home.
And you know what? Every team that has ever won a championship at the Six Invitational, at a major, we've got G2, Empire, we've got Na'Vi, who've won Pro League finals, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid. All of these teams are not here, but there is that one man still standing, and that is Canadian.
All right, but which other team scares you guys the most? Talking to a lot of pros, a lot of coaches, they say that they're worried most about an IP.
I mean, that's the big things, right? This is an international event. You got to play against very different styles than you're used to. And Latin America has its own scene, its own style, and they bring it here, but they bring it with some adaptations. And North America especially has to struggle with that. But also, you've got a lot of last chances for other regions come up against that. So it's going to be a wall for them to come up. And there's a reason why teams feared NIP. NIP has shown that. If Moosey's been showing up, the rest of his team's been showing up, Julio especially. I think Latin America have a chance as well at this grand finals.
Imzo, let me make sure I get this straight. The Australian guy didn't pick Fnatic to go to the final. What's wrong with you, man?
Look, I would love to see my ANZ boys make it all the way to the grand final. And look, I know that the crowd wouldn't like it, but I would love to see them take the hammer over Canadian. But look, hey, there's some Fnatic fans out there. I'll take that. But I've been chatting to Diz, I've been chatting to the boys, and everyone back home, they don't want me to jinx it. So I've got to say, Fnatic going down 2-0 today.
All right, so who's your underdog?
I mean, Fnatic's the underdog for me just because they've made it so far in so many unexpected situations. I mean, at this point, maybe they almost don't deserve to be called an underdog because they've proven they're not. I mean, taking out Empire, taking out G2, that is not what an underdog does. That's what an overdog does, I guess.
An overdog?
This dog-eat-dog world, and they're eating dogs.
A poet.
Yeah. Basically, so if you could describe today in the matches that we have right now in one word, what would it be?
Elimination.
Elimination.
Yeah, it's regions going home.
How big is it going to be if EU, they don't even make it to the semifinals?
I can't remember the last time EU or Latin America didn't win something. It was way back 3 years ago at the Six Invitational, the inaugural Six Invitational. Since then, it's all been EU with a little bit of Latin America as well. And we could see both of those go home today.
You're right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the clock is now ticking down. The event is almost about to be started, and this is pretty much a message to you. So, this has been a year in the making, and this is where we get down to the nitty-gritty. Because we started this event with 16 of the best teams in the world, and now more than half of them are gone. Nobody cares if somebody thought that you were the best team in the world, because on this main stage, none of that even matters, not even your past legacy. We've witnessed it. Titans have fallen to best have been beat. So who do we even have left? Can you even call them the underdogs? Because this, right now, this is a new era of Rainbow Six Siege. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Six Invitational!
We have all come together here today to celebrate excellence. Excellence shown by this vibrant community. Excellence shown in this skilled competition. And the excellence that is in the inspiring game that has brought us all together here today. This is not just an esports event. This is a thank you letter from the Rainbow Six team. This is the finale to this year's story. And at the end, we will crown a new champion. It will be one of the teams that is about to take this stage. Are you ready to cheer them? First, please welcome Dark Zero Esports. With Skies, Hot and Cold, Mint, Hyper, Eclipse, and BC. Next, please welcome Ninjas in Pajamas. With Psycho, Kamikaze, Pino, Muzi, Julio, and Bob. Next, please welcome Fnatic. With Mentalist, Magnet, Tex, Virtue, Lusty, and Dizzle. Now please welcome BDS Esports. With Shaco, LMs, RX, Raval, and Renshiro. Now, please welcome TSM. With Geometrics, Merc, Achieved, Hojo Man, Bolo, and Bagel. And now, please welcome Space Station Gaming. With Canadian, Rampy, Bolts, Bosco, Thinking Nade, and Lycan. You may already know the hours of practice, the years of dedication, the raw skill, and the deep abiding hope that brought all of the players to this stage today. Has it you, but I want to find out as soon as possible. And in order to do that, we need to get these matches underway. Let's get to it.
So I'm Hélène, the support flex player for Team BDS.
I'm Magnet from Fnatic. Last game we played TSM. We obviously did not do well playing up first in the morning. They just punished us for it, and we just then played way too scared and played into what they wanted us to do.
So the last match we played against MIBR from Brazil. It was a very good match for us. We played our game. We were very patient on attacks, and I think that's why we managed to win the match. So obviously, my feeling about going on I'm very happy about going on the final stage. I'm happy to share that with all my teammates because they are great guys, and I'm very happy to represent France as well.
So next up, we're going to be playing BDS. I think their strength is the fact that Shaiko can just push in and get all the kills while their teammates gets all the support information for him. So we scrimmed BDS once on bootcamp. So we definitely have an idea of how they're going to play. However, things will be very different when we play them on stage.
Fnatic is a very, very good team. They have good players who can completely turn around the situation, like Virtue or Magnet or Mentalist. This is a team we're gonna, of course, respect. They beat, Empire, G2, like great teams. So we're gonna respect them. We're gonna do our research.
Bonne chance et may the best team win.
Good luck and have fun.
I am so excited right now. The last of APAC and the last of Europe. You have BDS against Fnatic. What's the expectations of this matchup?
I mean, the expectation is playing for survival at this point. This is it. This is do or die. Fnatic have tried for so long. BDS are a newer runner here, so this is on Fnatic to prove that the long road here is well deserved, and it ends here with a trophy.
Yeah, and speaking of BDS, let's throw the rosters on the screen so you guys can get more acquainted with them now. You have Shaiko, you have Alims, and the rest of this roster. They've played so well so far. Do you think they have enough gas in the tank to push forward?
I think if Alems keeps showing up the way he has and Shaiko and Rashir do their thing, Rafal and RXWD, all they just got to do is just show up at that point the best they can. And BDS, they have a very good shot at this. I mean, they struggled a little bit early on, but they've shown they can beat some of the best as well.
You're going to have to remember, BDS recently made a team change. Panix was replaced by Alims, and even though it was a bit controversial at the time, Alims, he's been a star of this roster.
Yeah, Lem's currently really stepping it up for his team, especially in anchor positions. Magnet mentioned Shaiko, which I think is the player most people usually talk about. He's so good at just entering and finding frags. But we saw highlights from not just him, Alems as well, and also players like Rafael, who really stepped up against MIBR.
Now, Dev Martin, you've been waiting for this moment all day, baby. Fnatic, tell me about this roster.
The stars of ANZ Australia and also APAC. I think these guys really are APAC's last hope. They made significant roster changes coming after Season 10 where they failed to qualify for the Tokoname finals. They picked up Tex, who played for an Australian team called Sinister, picked up Mentalist, who played for Giants from Singapore, and these guys have looked so good ever since.
Now, Emzo, when we saw this team playing against G2, Fresh came over and I said, Fresh, who's the scariest player on this Fnatic roster? He said Tex. Why is Tex so great?
I mean, Tex, he's got to get over some of these land jitters. He's a little bit newer to the team, but when he has a hot game, he has a hot game. This man's entry frag, if he can get in that door, you're getting shot, so you need to stop him from getting inside the building is what it comes down to. So yeah, people are gunning for Tex the way they're gunning for Shaiko. You got to take the heads off some of these teams.
And speaking about the star players from these teams, let's take a look at each one from their respective roster. And our head-to-head, we're going to have Magnet and Alims. How do they compare?
Well, what's great is that we just saw the interview from Magnet and Alems, which is really exciting because we can directly take that. But both of them have been the IGLs for their team, the in-game leaders, which really affects their playstyle because as the leader of the team, you're making the calls about where you're pushing. And sometimes it can be very difficult to do double duty of supporting the team, being that foundation, and also fragging out. And yet both of these players, look at them, +8 for Alems on his entry kills, +3 for Magnet, and also both of them with a very good KD, despite the roles that they're playing.
How common is it that you see IGLs go this big, especially with Alims' very slow pace of play?
You know, sometimes it's down to the IGL knowing how to play the game really well. You can't make calls for your whole team if you can't make calls for yourself. It's that game sense. Like, I was listening to a lot of comms from Magnet when we were really near their desk. You could hear the man knew what he was doing. I didn't get to hear Lems, but I'm sure he knows what he's doing as well. Both of these guys have been so reliable throughout this tournament. You have a Lems, people sleeping on him thinking about Shaiko and Renshiro. Lems has been the top-rated player on his team 3 of the 5 matches, and only the 3rd-rated player the other 2. Magnet, pretty similar story as well. These guys are reliable for the team, not on top of being IGLs.
Now that's pretty insane, but ladies and gentlemen, you know the players, you know the teams. The one thing we don't know are the maps that they will play on. Dev Marta, what is to expect in this matchup?
Well, I've been going through a lot of the stats from these teams, and looking at Fnatic, they've been banning out Bank almost every game so far. The one time they let it through was against Empire and they lost it. I think it's pretty expected they'll get rid of it first, and they've done that. So it happens to be one of BDS's best maps as well, so a smart move from Fnatic. As for BDS, Villa is their insta-ban, and they're not going to get rid of Villa. So this is a hugely exciting moment. They've banned it, 30 plus times in the last 6 months. So BDS is making some serious moves here, instead deciding to ban one of Fnatic's best maps of Coastline.
Yeah, Coastline is definitely going to hurt for Fnatic. Watching the way they play, the way they're able to just dismantle opposing strategies, it's amazing. But the first 2 maps of the day will be Kafe, Dostoyevsky, and also Consulate.
I mean, this is the way I expected the bans go down, because you didn't want to leave Coastline on there for Fnatic, and that's the thing is they had to make a choice. Do we take out Coastline? Because Fnatic were going to pick it. I'm pretty sure if they left it in, it was going to get played. They got rid of it. Kafe, though, such a good map for Fnatic. I think that was the right choice. Their Consulate, also a good map for Fnatic. We only saw them really struggle against TSM on it.
Yeah.
So I think that could also be pretty good, but we also know BDS pretty good on that map. So not a real surprise it's coming down this way, but that also means some really good competition these first 2 maps.
You have 2 bans coming up soon, also the Decider map.
Yeah, but with that Villa, that's what I'm still wondering about. Is BDS going to let it through? Because this is a game of chicken right now.
There we
and
go.
BDS are winning the game of chicken because Fnatic have 0 VODs. Fnatic are known to be that counter-stratting team. BDS decided to let Villa in, and Fnatic said, no, we can't risk letting that get through because it's not their best map. So I actually am very surprised to say BDS may well have pulled the wool over Fnatic's eyes and in theory won this ban phase. Despite that, I'm pretty happy with both of these teams' chances. Kafe is a great map for Fnatic, not the best for BDS. Consulate's really even, both of these teams love it. And Clubhouse, they both, I wrote keen to play for both of these teams. So Clubhouse should be a bloodbath.
All right, so here goes the fun. Prediction time. Down in line, who do you think is going to win and why? I know you want to be biased, Dev Marta. You're from Australia. I get it. You're like Fnatic. But genuinely, do you feel like they have what it takes to move past BDS?
I think that BDS have made some serious moves with this ban phase. I have so much respect for them for that. They also have so much experience behind them. They come from the most competitive region, or at least up until now, what we thought was the most competitive region. But Fnatic, they're so good on Kafe. I don't see BDS winning that. And if BDS wants to win this, we're going all 3 maps, and Clubhouse should be a banger.
I think it really comes down to player control. If Fnatic can control the players on BDS, especially the breakout players like we're expecting to just start gunning, if he can take out or control some of those players early on, do some solid roam control this time, Fnatic can take it. But if they end up with a situation like they did with TSM, where they just let things get out of hand, then BDS run away with it. So it's down to especially early rounds in these maps. Like if they win map 1, I could see Fnatic taking it all the way. But if they slip on that map, it's going to BDS.
So Dev Marta, you do a lot of ANZ Pro League. Yes, I said Z.
I respect that.
I'm a cultured guy, okay? So, what does BDS have to watch for in regards to Fnatic's play style?
One of the things that Fnatic is really good at, and we were talking to Fresh from G2, we talked to a lot of the G2 roster. I had a really great chat to Shaz. The thing that G2 believes Fnatic is so strong at is counter-stratting. So if Fnatic have VODs of BDS matches on different maps, Fnatic are going to be able to figure out what BDS do and counter them. And I think that's what BDS have to be aware of, because if they go and play Clubhouse like they did against MIBR, Fnatic is going to be ready for that. So for BDS, the win condition here is keep changing it up, keep adapting, and don't let Fnatic figure you out.
All right, Emzo, you do a lot of Pro League for Europe as well. When it comes to BDS, what about their play style scares the hell out of you?
I mean, it's their frag power. You got players like Shaiko who just hit insane shots. If they cannot just, I mean, they've got a drone, really. You got to know where this man's coming from, because some of those players are so unpredictable. And then you've got players who can just hold a position and just be a turret of death like Alems. You got to know where these players are. That's what it comes down to is BDS can gun, so you need to play an advantage at all times in these gunfights against them.
At the same time, do you think that they rely heavily on Shaiko just being French Jesus out there with a gun?
You know,
just frag everybody out?
We all keep talking about that, but the ratings and the stats don't show that. It's not just the Shaiko show. Shaiko's here to play, but Alems is here to stay. They are, I mean, it's Team Secret's best kept secret. Alems coming here. This is, I'm really impressed with this team, the way they've been showing up at LAN, because they've had a bit of a hit and miss on Pro League, but they're showing, especially when the latency is a little bit lower, the gunning just gets better.
And the big story for me with BDS, though, is we talk about Europe so much, and yeah, we've talked about how teams have been eliminated. This is Europe's last chance. Is BDS the team that Europe would put on a pedestal and say, you are our last hope, go forth and do what you can? Is BDS that team? Because I'm not sure they are.
Is it fair to say right now that Europe is the best region in Siege right now?
It was 5 days ago, I think. and now I'm not so sure.
3-A, it's just like, what's going on here? So, this is last hope for each region, and it's pretty scary, but it just talks about how much the skill gap has risen in all of Rainbow Six Siege. And for you that's been in the scene for so long now, how exciting is that?
I mean, I love seeing the old and the new players, right? You've got BDS that's new with some mix of some old players. You've got NA, some classic players coming back, as well as a mix of new ones, especially on TSM. I love to see just the mix of blood here, the pedigree going way back. This game just gets stepped up every year in skill level, in strategy, in just the way it's played, the map changes, the operators. It never ends, and Invitational is the best place to showcase that, just because this is, as you said, the best teams in the world, the best players in the world, the best event in the world, and of course the best desk in the world.
Of course, thanks, Enzo. I will say, we've talked a lot about legacy of these teams. We've talked about how this is a new era of Rainbow Six, but there is legacy in both of these teams. Players like Renshira, even Alems, Shaiko, Rafael, these guys have been in the scene for a very, very long time. And on the flip side, Fnatic, I think people forget, they are the only team at this event who have been on the stage at every single Six Invitational.
Pedigree, baby.
Yeah.
Someone was clapping their little thing in the background. I heard that. We have a Fnatic fan somewhere out there.
There's got to be at least one of you.
There you go.
More than one, hopefully.
Maybe more after this match.
The crowd is actually pretty lively right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting for one player to get into the lobby. I know he deserves a boo, but I want to see what you guys think. I asked the analysts what their predictions were. If you're going for Fnatic, make some noise. All right, all right. I know we have some Europeans in the audience. Who's here for BDS?
Whoa.
Hey, Europe is winning this one.
These are the bandwagon G2 fans? Switching sides?
I gotta say, Fnatic, a little bit European. They boot camped in London.
Yeah.
It's actually an Australian-owned organization, but based in Europe as well, so.
You brought up a good point. Fnatic actually boot camped with G2. That was their main scrim partner. So in regards to difference of playstyle in each region, how different was ANZ compared to Europe and NA?
Oh, it's hugely different. We talk about this a lot, especially when I'm broadcasting the ANZ and APAC leagues. It's so different in APAC and ANZ because of the sheer geographical distance. It's just not feasible to play internationally, and you don't get as many scrims. If you're in North America, you can scrim European teams. If you're in APAC, if you're in ANZ, which is right down south in APAC, you can't scrim Europe without 400 ping. So when Fnatic goes to these boot camps in London, they say this. They relearn everything from the ground up. They get smacked about by these European teams. You know what they've done this event?
Yeah.
They smacked about European teams back.
All right, so, okay. Dev with the pop-off. But ladies and gentlemen, while you guys are waiting, I want to thank you all so kindly for being so patient. We have a video about Kafe we're going to put on the screen.
Kafe, which is obviously the map that people are playing now. The most unique thing for me is the rooftop hatches and the new balconies that we added to actually make some of the bomb sites viable. Now all of the bomb sites in Kafe are viable, cafes viable, bars viable, and then closing down the angles. So when you come in, you can drop from the roof onto the balconies. Now it's a bit risky and drop onto red stairs, but if you couple that with some crossfire from Piano Room, it's actually really super fun. I love the top floor of Kafe. It's one of my favorite places to play.
I think the strategy that comes up oftentimes would be to take top floor and then work your way down from there. There is this very clear way of approaching the map, of taking the control of the top floor always and then going floor and floor below until you reach the bomb site that you want to attack.
Kafe is one of the most complicated maps that we currently have in our map pool for competitive. It's a map that if you're not good with your utility, you're going to be punished. You have to have teamwork. There's nobody that can just take the map by storm by themselves. You have to work with your teammates to achieve a lot of the jobs that handle each site. And if you don't, then you die. So it's one of those things where you have to have that teamwork, otherwise you're going to fail.
Kafe had a large problem, which is only one of the bomb sites was viable. The top floor one was pretty good. The train one was decent, not necessarily awesome, but decent. And the bakery one was incredibly awful. And the new iteration we have now, we have 4 bomb sites. They are all viable and all played. And even all of them got better and more interesting. I think that's the key change this time, not necessarily came from new operators or necessarily new IDs. It did, like it always do. But in this instance, the rework changed a lot of the map.
My most memorable moment on Kafe would probably have to be inside of the United States Nationals when I was casting with Blue or John. And we were watching the Dark Zero match against their opponent at that time. And they brought Monte. And they were actually ended up on Heaven where they had the diffuser down in a 1-versus-1 with Monty, and he just stood at the door and basically just like ran back and forth with the same guy that was trying to get inside the door, and he just could not get inside to kill Monty, so he just got the win for free because he couldn't kill the guy with the shield. It was actually extremely entertaining. There was a bunch of memes made about it. It was probably one of the most funny moments that I've had inside of my commentary.
Ubisoft definitely did a fantastic job, the reworks of the maps, and I kind of know some stuff in the future. But Dev Marta, what about the Kafe rework do you really like?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved Kafe. In the old Kafe, it was a lot more constricted, and they really opened up the map and allowed for a lot more play. My personal favorite thing is I always love those off-bomb sites, so I love the fact that we really see a lot of middle floor play with that library bomb site.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right.
I love fighting for map control. It's about roaming, it's about the push and the pull, using utility, getting information, roaming, roam clearing. That's what I really love about Kafe and the way that it's opened up. Also that vertical play on Kitchen, look, I love playing a bit of Bark. I love playing some IQ with breaching charges, and that really just opens up the smorgasbord for you there.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, time is coming to an end, but before we jump onto the main stage, we also have a video about your boy Magnet. Let's take a look.
I first started playing Rainbow Six Siege as soon as the game came out, right at launch, and I've been playing ever since then. What hooked me on playing Rainbow Six Siege was just that every single day you would learn something new, and there was just such a depth to an FPS. It was just like no other FPS out there. There's like new angles to learn, new verticality to learn, new spots to sit, and just new nade spots that you can find. The first time I tried to sort of go pro was when I joined Mindfreak with, as you all know, Diz at the time. And basically we were then traveling to Invitational, the biggest event of the year. And that's when I knew that I was sort of going into that pro area, and I wanted to do this professionally. So before going pro in Siege, I was studying at university. I was doing clinical exercise physiology. I was in my 3rd year of that, and also as a way to earn money, I was also coaching gymnastics at the time. So I think if I didn't go pro in Siege, I'd be a clinical exercise physiologist, and doing that full time as coaching gymnastics was more just a part-time thing. So it's quite the different career path. What motivates me is to be the best. It's quite simple. I really hate losing, and we have not won any majors or pro league finals yet, and that is the #1 thing to do. I definitely consider Siege my full-time career. This is what I do when I wake up. This is what I do, what I think about before I go to bed. I don't know. It's definitely my full-time career. I don't have anything else going on at the moment. And if it isn't full-time, I probably wouldn't be here now as well. Setting victory aside, I think the big goal for myself in Siege Esports is to be remembered as someone who created and led APAC to victory, along with Dizzle, of course. It's been a big dream of mine to obviously win a tournament, but apart from winning, you got to do something, you got to make a big indent in the scene, should I say. So I think trying to lead APAC to its victory, making the scene more professional, making the scene more competitive is something I really want to accomplish.
Thank you for your patience, because the time is now here. The first match of the day, BDS and Fnatic. But before we jump in, let me introduce you to my lovely casters, my USN boys, Stokes and Blue. Fellas, Stokes, you first. You think APAC is gonna pull through?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think Fnatic takes it. Fnatic takes it. It's not a BDS show. This is all Fnatic. This is APAC. I mean, I'm from NA, so I kind of, you know, that's how it works.
I feel that's how it works. It's all right, man. Blue, do you have hope in BDS?
There's hope for sure. There's certainly a very clear path where BDS can take this one, but ultimately I think that Fnatic are just a much more complete package right now, and I think when it comes down to it, especially if we go to that third map, they're going to take control.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. Map number 1 is about to start now. Kafe, Dostoyevsky, Stokes, Blue, take it away.
Thank you very much, Belly, and ladies and gentlemen, it is time to start the games. We have our very first matchup. Now remember, all of these games start in the lower bracket, which means elimination is on the line. No second chances to be had here. You either move on or go home. Kafe is the battlefield for map number 1, so let's get into it.
Kafe, a map that's pretty complex when it comes to the defense, but it's extremely difficult to attack. There's a lot of creative things you can do with this map on that defensive side. So we're waiting for this first ban to go through here, but we might be adjusting something for just a second. But yes, this map is defensive sided, folks. It's, as you heard the devs say, it's a very large map. 3 stories, all the bomb sites are defendable, which makes for a nice game, you know, always fun. Honestly, I have to agree with him, though. I definitely like the top floor the most of this area, especially the Christmas room, because there's so many different spots you can play inside of there to actually help once the offense works their way to the top of red stairs.
Not necessarily the preferred starting point for a lot of our defensive-sided teams. In this case, it's going to be BDS that will get that defensive-sided start. We've been seeing a lot of teams either work their way in towards either kitchen or on one of the 2 second-floor sites. I believe in the case of BDS, wanting to try and clear out mining room and fireplace before moving on to one of the other 2 sites. We'll see if that will vary up today, as teams have been switching that up quite often, but that is to be found out within the next couple of moments. Once again, guys, apologies, we do have a slight delay here as we are re-hosting the game, but should be able to jump back in just a moment here. We're working on doing that as soon as possible, so it shouldn't be very long at all. Just got to reset the settings, get everybody back in the server. There's only 1 here, so it's a pretty easy choice for the players, and then they'll jump back in and resume the match from the beginning.
So for these 2 teams, in particular, Fnatic and BDS play sort of a similar style, but as you said, you thought that Fnatic was a more complete package, and I have to agree with that statement, because for BDS, with the recent roster moves that they made, also dropping their coach, I haven't seen much change with them in recent history. Whereas Fnatic looks like an entirely new Fnatic. I'm really enjoying their gameplay. I really feel like the only reason they lost their last matchup was that they were not playing their game. You heard Magnet quoted inside of his video. I really feel like that was a downfall for them.
I was talking to Dev Martin and Veli about it yesterday, and I think a really good way to describe Fnatic, especially when comparing it to BDS, is much more flexible, much more willing to adjust their strategy in the mid-round, especially from an attacker's perspective, and be willing to change things up to fit what their opponents are doing so they can slowly counter that out and almost like a checklist, work their way down through the things they need to check off before eventually executing upon the site. Whereas BDS is a little bit more straightforward with their strategy and arguably almost a little over-reliant on individual players to get the job done, which is why I'm a little bit worried about BDS's capability to take this, especially if Fnatic are able to swing it on to 3 maps. I do think, however, that third map could still end up in BDS's favor, but BDS is also having issues there. For instance, if we see Fnatic ban out Thermite again, BDS seem to have a very awkward way to get the cache wall open. If we watch their match versus MIBR today, with Rafal using the Maverick to get it done, and losing his life twice as a direct result of the method that he was using in order to get the walls open.
Yeah, and for Kafe, we've seen a bunch of different offensive bans, from hard breachers to Thatcher to Nomad to whatever. Kafe is a map that it's really just how you want to play it with your bans. A lot of maps are already meted out to where you just ban, for instance, Border, Nomad, you get rid of her so you can actually do stuff on the map. Otherwise, you're going to have a really bad time. But between these two, Blue, I feel like for BDS, the thing that needs to happen for them is that Rafal needs to play the exact same way that he played on the last play day. He needs to have those insane clutches. He needs those insane moments because it helped BDS along the path.
Give him the TCSG, basically.
Give him the TCSG.
The solution, at least on defense. For attack, we'll still have to work on that. But ladies and gentlemen, it looks like it's time to start the game once again. So let's get into it. Kafe between Fnatic and BDS. It's a best of 3. First team to 2 maps moves forward deeper into the bracket.
Hold on 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Six Invitational. Let's make some noise. Let's hear it. This is the first map, Fnatic, BDS. Let's get to it.
Montaigne, interestingly enough, is going to be our first ban as we shift away from the normal trends of BDS. They normally ban out Thermite here, which we brought up a moment ago, but instead shield play will be limited. Thatcher instead banned out by Fnatic, and they'll also take out Mira. Fnatic sticking much more to normal meta bans at this point.
Very standard stuff so far. The Monty's just something you want to take away from people that really play Monty. For instance, like G2, they can always pull that out of their back pocket. Valkyrie going to be the last one. BDS despises this woman. Get rid of her all the time. Her cameras are extremely impactful, but you're still going to have Echo, and you're still going to have Maestro, folks.
Yeah, no real surprises there on the Valkyrie ban from BDS. She currently has a 49% ban rate for this team, so it's either going to be her or someone else, basically, is the solution with the ban. And there's the trophy, ladies and gentlemen. The hammer, which all these teams are trying to lift at the end of the tournament. Only 6 remain, but only 1 gets to take home that prize there on the middle of the stage. The first round is pretty much ready to go, and it does look like, once again, BDS is not going to go for the direct third floor route that we see a lot of teams optimize towards. Instead, it's going to be Reading Room and Fireplace that'll be our initial site.
We're going to have a 6-pick into a Goyo. You guys have been seeing a lot of that throughout this entire tournament, so almost on every single floor in this entire map, actually, Goyo's been used recently. We see him a lot on the top floor. There's a couple of kitchen setups with him. So BDS might be bringing something a little bit fresh to the table. I haven't seen too many reading setups just yet.
And Goyo, once again, being a great operator, more than anything, just to waste utility from the attackers, as those shields have to be dealt with. If you try to run into the setups, they'll just blow up the shield, and down you're going to go, more than likely just from the excess incendiary damage, not to mention the players that will then hold angles against you and shoot you with their guns. As we move deeper into the round itself, BDS setting things up here, once again looking to have heavy resistance from that outside door right next to where Alems has positioned himself right now. We'll pop it open slightly, though, in the event he gets himself a fight going.
And we know we have a lot of new folks here, so can we please pop up the extended version of the UI so we can go through some stuff real quick? Well, you guys already see that you can see who exactly you're selecting or who are currently on in the bottom corner. Obviously, we're on Alems right now. Little white bar shifts around to who they want to see next. Those little dots keep track of your drones for you, as well as your kills, assists, deaths, and then we have a new one, folks. Your plants or your objective play, but as we know, this is bomb. There is no secure area or anything like that, so it's going to be bomb plants.
So just like the developers stated in that video, you are going to see Fnatic follow the normal route to take control of this. It's a top-down map, meaning you have to open up these hatches and play from them. The one that we're seeing them look at right now is called the Red Stairs hatch, and the new hatch is the second one that we just saw. I believe it was Tex looking at initially. Do have a little bit of resistance being put up by Alems as he's just trying to fire off shots from down below. Some nice resistance being played, but not enough to catch these guys. However, Tex goes for a wild swing, and it's not Rafal with the TCSG, but RXWD making work with it here in the early round to eliminate him.
Tex playing pretty fast to start us off. Trying to get back in to have some sort of impact. Oh no! Nitro Cell to Virtue. No damage to Magnet, strange enough, but seems like he was just outside of the blast radius behind the minibar.
By the way, not a good start for Fnatic. They're going to have to go hunting for kills here, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to find. BDS know they have a 5v3 advantage, so they're going to start to shift into a very passive form over the next few moments. Still with a very aggressive top hold, though, which is the part that surprises me right now. And I think the main reason for that is they don't necessarily have a guaranteed clean rotate back down through the stairs, which Magnet is looking at right now. That called White Stairs. They've got another player from Fnatic on the other side of it, cutting off any of the rotates from BDS. But ultimately, with a +2 man advantage, those extra 2 players players on the 3rd floor are not going to be much of a concern for BDS at this point.
Well, a little bit of damage done to Magnet as Fnatic's trying to figure out exactly how they can handle this map. They have top control, so Magnet can always break the floor and then try and get a pick that way. RX has that minimal damage from Pixel's spot that he took a little bit earlier as they start to do some reconstructive surgery. What the issue is now is that BDS is playing completely passive, all except for Shaiko currently inside of pillars. Oh, we might have a drop here from the Hibana. Lusty ready for it, but Shaiko more prepared. Oh, is he gonna go for 2? Dancing back and forth inside of pillars. Doesn't know he's being pressured just yet. Takes a tight angle, works his way down the hallway. Instead, there's gonna be a hot ping, so they know that he's close, but Mentalist isn't gonna go too far.
Mentalist continuing to swing forward, watching out for any utility that might be around the corner, but no, Lems from BDS picking up another one. Finally, a kill found from Fnatic as Mentalist gets one up on the board for his team. But now this fight is one that he really can't win. No utility to deal with that Goyo shield. Nitrocell is going to take away a good chunk of his HP, and RXWD comes in once again with that slug shotgun to finish off the round for his team.
Masterfully played from BDS. Fantastic rotations back to side after they got the picks that they already needed. Nothing wrong with that strat right there. It worked beautifully for them. For Fnatic, though, very slow moving. We want to see that get adjusted in this next round. They need to pick up the pace here. Guess walking around, not really doing too much right now. The main issue is that, honestly, they're stalling. They're just standing flat-footed, not doing much, and we need to see that change in order for them to be successful.
Take a look at some of the replays throughout the course of that round. We'll be doing this periodically from now on, now that we're on the stage. Nice to get a good look at some of the greater highlights from within that matchup. And in this case, it's all BDS all day, especially in the early round. Fnatic takes a good 2.5 minutes or so just to establish enough position to start a push towards the site, let alone have the appropriate intel and have the confidence needed to get their way into it. So as you might expect, things just really don't go their way, and BDS takes swift control of that opening 2nd floor site. Now they'll shift downstairs into the kitchen on the very 1st floor for the next pickup.
BDS going down the site rotation in an irregular path, which is obviously completely fine. That's what you want to do. You're on land, try and throw the offense for a loop. It's seeming to work right now, but obviously Fnatic knows more than likely where they're attacking for the time being. Have a rotation into the kitchen wall, a couple of other things to put together for BDS before we get into this round. But kitchen overall is actually split up into 2 separate kitchens, and if you want to include prep, it's actually 3. But for this site, they're going to need a decent amount of anchor control. Otherwise, things can go awry very, very quickly. For BDS, though, they're going to have to hold this mid-floor / top area. Otherwise, Magnet will get pretty easy access and be able to use that skeleton key to make some very dangerous angles.
Fnatic being a little bit cautious here at the start of the round, watching for any potential run-out. Magnet specifically being cautious of that here from the terrorist point of view. But won't be the case this time. No early round aggression being thrown outside of the building by BDS. So Tex and the rest of the team are going to swing up towards the roof. We will more than likely expect 1 to 2 additional players to work their way in from a separate angle, but at the moment, again, it's the focus on that top-down clear with Tex opening up the red hatch.
Tex going away from the Ash pick. Now he's on IQ with the G8A1. I've seen this question so many times. Why are people taking the G8A1 over the 5.52 Commando? Well, let me tell you. It's basically an R4C that you can put an ACOG on with 20 more bullets. That's exactly why. The gun is fantastic, has an angle grip, does everything you could possibly want it to do. That's exactly why people are taking over the 5.52. Only issue with IQ, though, is she doesn't have any stuns, so you really can't take gunfights like you would with Ash, where you stun for yourself and then take the gunfight. Instead, she's got breaching charges and a claymore, but she's got a little bit better utility when it comes to getting rid of, well, the defensive utility.
White Stairs approach is going to be cleared out nice and fast by Fnatic. Some control downstairs as well, so shouldn't be too worried about any rotates from BDS here. And also BDS, as you may have noticed, playing things much closer to the chest this time. No attempts to disrupt Fnatic on their initial push in from those top hatches. And besides that, not really taking any fights at all. We've got less than half the round remaining, and no one has taken any damage yet.
Usually when it gets around this time and no one's taken any damage, that's a call sign for things to get crazy. Getting rid of some electronics down low. Gonna start with some breaching charges as well as Virtue opens the floor. X-Kairos on the hatch to get that dealt with as well. Oh, and it's gonna be Kaid tricked once again from Renshiro. And we actually don't have Rafal on that. We actually have him on smoke, strange enough.
The drone going down does bypass right through Alem's POV, so they've revealed his position for about the second or third time this round. But again, Fnatic being very timid to actually push in for their execute. Virtue is being repositioned to get him into a spot in order to push right now. Tries to isolate out Alem's, but is not going to be able to do it successfully. Tex may have to start his way around the bend here in order to deal with Alem's or anyone else that is positioned nearby, so the rest of the team can push in and still have time to do it. A stun moves in onto Alem's, and in the meanwhile, Tex will take him out, finally finishing off the job, and he'll find a second to follow that up as well with the elimination of RXWD. The site now available to be taken by Fnatic, but they've only got 15 seconds to start their defuse.
Rough shift here for Fnatic. They need to work their way in. Shaiko's holding their long haul as well as everyone's fixated on this kitchen door. Shaiko's already worked his way back in, but Rafal actually to stave off Tex. Shaiko with one more, and he gets a diffuser. BDS with 2 rounds.
It's sloppy from Fnatic ultimately. There was an issue with their soft breach on the freezer wall, and as such, they weren't able to move in as quickly as I believe they wanted to, causing a mass split up of the 2 groups of players moving in through the main kitchen entrance and that broken freezer door, splintering the hit, and unfortunately leading to another loss for them. Bar is where we'll go next, though, as BDS continues to excel here on defense.
This is a scary thing for Fnatic right now. They've actually had pretty good coordination. It's just been taking a very long time for them to get to site. We'll count round 1 as a wash, folks, because it obviously didn't start off very well. But round 2 took a very long time. They finally got down to site, got that double kill, but there was not enough time on the board in order for them to actually get an execute off. So instead, they had to try and funnel in through a door, which obviously doesn't work in this game. It's one-shot, headshot. Everyone tries to run through one door. You guys know how it goes.
So upstairs being the name of the game now from BDS, we're going to see a couple more operators brought into the pool, most notably the castle here on Renshiro in order to block off doorways with a type of reinforcement that is not as easily broken down by the attackers. It's not just 3 hits anymore, it's 12, if memory serves me correctly, on melee. And on top of that, you can use self-destruction from someone like Sledge, or in the case of what Fnatic currently has in their arsenal, Virtue's charges in order to get through them a little bit more quickly.
Castle's an operator that inside of your ranked games can really piss you off if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, but a good Castle is a great Castle, to be completely honest with you. Castle is a fantastic operator. Granted, the UMP isn't the best gun, but his utility, along with the impacts that he has as a secondary utility, fantastic if used correctly.
Spam coming in from Virtue. Once again, being wary of early round aggression from BDS as they have been using it, although not as often as some other teams here at this event, especially the Latin American ones which thrive in that type of very early aggro play style. BDS gonna hold their tongue this time though. It did look like they were getting ready for a potential move out, but Fnatic had already read into it, so not worth the risk.
Especially after that last round, BDS seemingly doesn't have to do much to stall out Fnatic. They really didn't do anything. Shaiko with the first kill from somewhere, God knows, but it's gonna be Virtue. That's a big pick. Virtue helped out Tex the last time to get those first 2 kills that Fnatic needed to try and force sight.
First minute of the round already gone away.
That's gross. You guys know that's gross. That shouldn't happen.
Tex in the meanwhile here, looking to line himself up. Play as he works his way down. Not going to be able to isolate any of the members of BDS here. Magnet fishing for something on this repelled window. He's got an angle set up, but he just can't support it, and he also doesn't want to shoot too early here to give it away. Shaiko trying to take the duel at Skylight again here now. Looking for another pickup for his team, and just outright standing in it, thriving in this environment right now. This is so bold from Shaiko. Mentalist nearly able to line up an angle to shut at least one of the players down, but the Nitro Cell sent out a Mentalist. He's able to escape, but they're only losing about 25 HP from it.
I'm the one casting the match, and I had a heart attack from that Nitro Cell sailing through that. Fnatic, though, still trying to work the outside of the building. Tex finally getting inside. Otherwise, the rest of Fnatic currently on the roof and still repelled. So Tex needs to get these initial kills here. Oh, he has one inside a bar they could possibly get. Checking new drop still. Sees some cameras. Will get rid of one of the yokais. Finds a couple mute jammers as well. This is the beauty of IQ.
Tex trying to pop that breaching charge, but it's gone, so won't hear much happen from that. The second one will go off successfully, however. And in the meantime, Shaiko still holding the Skylight angle. Magnet will finally strike for Fnatic, though, picking up the first, but Shaiko's there to strike right back, knocking out Tex. And still waiting for that peek to come in for Mentalist again at the Skylight. Shaiko! What? With a double! That might have been a collateral. Taking out Magnet and Lusty, and now looking for the last one. He gets it as well. It's an ace from Shaiko with an incredibly bold hold in the middle bar.
I want to spell the gravity of this situation to you. Shaiko just played the area of the map that you're really not supposed to play. You're not supposed to play in that bar area. Sometimes it's no man's land if the team is able to set up. But this is exactly what Shaiko did. He was the entire reason that Fnatic couldn't set up, because he was that pillar of defense in the middle of bar shooting everyone, and they could not do a single thing about it. Crazy, crazy lineup to get him that quad kill, though.
Let's take a look at this loadout once again. The opening kill that he was able to negotiate for himself against Virtue. Didn't even see it coming. Followed it up with even more later on in the round. Yeah, a few exchanges here and there from Fnatic, but look at this. All Shaiko all day. And just a second here, we'll see that beautiful lineup. Oh, they walk right into each other as well. Shaiko, a great way to line up the double, and then finishing it off with Mentalists.
This is Fnatic not playing their game, and we're already going to have a timeout set up for Fnatic. See Dizzle talking to him on the stage after that ace from Shaiko. That's a man that you don't want to get hot, and right now it is an inferno inside a Kafe. They need some assistance, they need some help. Hopefully Dizzle has some words to be able to assist him in that. Otherwise, BDS is just running away with this on defense right now. And again, I know it's Kafe, I know it's defender-sided, but if this is a 6-0 on the defensive side, that is still extremely difficult to come back from.
The other problem right now for Fnatic is that there's really no close shaves happening at the moment. With all three of these rounds played, these have been three very BDS-sided rounds in a very decisive manner. Fnatic has not put up much of a chance to even come close to winning one of these rounds yet, and that has to be worrisome for them, as they've already passed the quarter mark in this match.
It gets talked about a lot inside of sports, esports, traditional sports, whatever you guys follow, but it's one of those issues where you give your opponent too much respect, where you think about it too hard and you go, I don't want to peek, Shaiko's really dangerous, we don't want him to kill us. It's one of those issues where you're playing so passively that it's actually detrimental to your team, and that's the thing that Fnatic needs to get rid of right now. It needs to be in this moment, otherwise BDS can just continue this steamroll.
That hesitation seemed to be a core issue for Fnatic, at least on round number 2. Didn't get to analyze their positional play too much in terms of how they approached round number 3, but it seemed like it could have been an issue there, especially after Shaiko was able to start out with that beautiful kill from the Skylight. Attempts to hunt him down throughout the rest of the round proved fruitless. And as such, BDS took control with that beautiful ace from Shaiko himself.
Well, diffuser on Lusty for the round. Fnatic has had a really tough time of getting in the building, well, except for round 2 where they finally got in, but not very much happened with it until we saw Tex get a double kill. But as you guys can see, that's all that Tex has. We're in round 4 now, and the offense only has 4 kills.
Well, patches aren't going to be too much of a problem with Sledge on your team. He's an easy operator to explain as well. If you're a new viewer here, he's got a hammer. That's all you need to know.
That hammer that's on the stage, yeah, that's his. He has that. It's his hammer. Nice little purview of the map there. That's the new mini-map, actually. I'm completely joking. Completely joking. We do have a pulse of a limbs, which means Mentalist could actually get a free pick here if he's able to get some vertical pressure with some soft flooring.
This once again trying to line something up. It does look like the entirety of the Christmas room has the back wall reinforced. They're going to try to throw a frag grenade deep. Flashes first to burn utility piece. That's what's normally called an ADS sitting in the background that would be deployed by Shaiko's operator. So not going to be an issue this time. The nade thrown in deals with the Goyo barricade in the back of the room and will allow more forward progress to be made by Fnatic.
Here's the issue now, though. We have Mentalist droning out the mid floor, but there's no one here yet to be able to capitalize on it. They have the vertical control. You can see all the blue silhouettes moving around upstairs. They just need the angles. Limbs is currently controlling the only one they really have, so if they go into peak, this could be dangerous. Playing ring around the Rosie, but Shaiko from Pillar gets the first kill of the round once again.
Shaiko making so much impact in the early round from a roaming perspective right now. And it looks like Rafal is going to be able to get a drone right in the mix of Fnatic's push as they try to take control. Renshiro trying to find himself a fight where he can have an advantage, but ends up rotating right into Tex's crosshair. That's going to eliminate him, bring us back on even terms into a 4v4. Oh! Right into the face of Shaiko. Tex leaping over the balcony, gets his second on the round.
Well, Tex now has control of pillars, but it's RXWD from underneath to kill Magnet. Still on equal footing between these two. Still plenty of defenders, though, to be able to hold down this site. Specifically, all those Goyo shields set up. Virtue, though, makes things a little bit more difficult for BDS. Rafal and RXWD, the only two that remain right now, is Fnatic setting up for the rest of this execute. Holding flanks here, see if they can get one more pick before they try and go for this diffuser. Virtue trying to make it happen, but still Lusty with that diffuser all the way upstairs. They need to find some safe space in order to make this happen.
Wild spray indeed against RXWD yields 0 results, but Rafal, after we see RXWD fall at the hands of Tex's 3rd kill now, he's going to be able to trade it back. Rafal, however, now the only man left standing.
Oh no.
The plan, it was just a second too late on interrupting it, and now he's going to wildly spam into it. In the meanwhile here, Rafal now leaping over the balcony, going to go for the re-entry into Library itself, already taking it to and swiping onto the head of Virtue. Now down to a 1v1, he's going to try to take this well, and he gets it! The drop shot from Rafal! Oh, and the fadeaway headshot as well! He's going to get this defused, plenty of time remaining. It's yet another round going into the pocket of BDS.
This is not a match at the moment. This is a murder, and BDS is definitely the one killing, because Fnatic, oh my gosh, even into the post plant, we're not able to lock things down. They already had the diffuser down before they had to take any of these gunfights as well. Just really, really rough there for Virtue inside of the laundry room, but a nice drag from Rafal to find that headshot.
Rafal coming out huge in the clutch right now. BDS, in general, is coming out huge on individual performances. I talked a bit on the analysis desk about how they'd almost been a little bit over-reliant on certain players, but if all 3 of the key players for BDS are going to come into stride, I doubt that's going to be an issue. Those 3 key players, 2 of them already finding massive impact between Shaiko and Rafal. Now we're just waiting for Lems to step up, but it may not even be needed here in all honesty.
Well, just remember that no matter what happens between these two, someone is going home. This is the lower bracket, folks. So whoever gets 2-1, 2-0, doesn't matter. They are going to be on the way back to their home. So BDS currently up 4-0, making really good work of this defensive side as we head back downstairs to kitchen.
Continuing to rotate around what I like to call the site triangle for the folks on BDS. They're currently flawless with regards to how they've approached it, winning all 3 points. Now the first of their repeat of those points as well. Heading on to the second site at the moment, with that being Kitchen. Same overall setup that we've seen from them before, and I would imagine that they're going to continue to get more and more aggressive as they know the confidence continuing to brew in their favor, and that at the moment, for the most part, they're controlling Fnatic's early round, which gives BDS a lot of freedom to make the kind of plays that we've been seeing guys like Shaiko and Rafal make so far throughout this series.
Did you guys know Shaiko's ace was his second of the tournament, with the first coming against Team Reciprocity on Border? Shout out to the guys doing the stats in the back. We appreciate you guys, but this is going to be the same setup that BDS brought the last time Alem's playing inside of VIP, so we'll see if Fnatic knows how to handle it this time around.
Rest of the team working their way up towards the roof with Tex and Virtue more than likely moving in through the hatches. Doesn't look like the whole squad is going to join up this time, though, because you've got Mentalist and Magnet potentially moving in from alternate POVs here, just to try and pinch out that 3rd floor pressure that they struggled so heavily with on their last attempt. This time, though, after droning out that 3rd floor, they'll realize that, well, there's not really much presence here from BDS at all. They're playing it almost entirely on the site, so Fnatic is going to walk in and do a very quick clear of the 3rd and 2nd floors.
A lot faster on pacing this time. Virtue's already worked his way to White Stairs, pre-fire through Fridge, but goes to join his friend Mentalist, currently next to New Stairs as the rest of these drones check out what's going on around the map. But that's the danger of it. Shaiko currently on red, can rotate at any possible time. Magnet shifting over to Sledge instead of running the Bucks, so a little less powerful gun, but Renshiro! It seems like BDS is just a team of TCSG 12s.
Certainly mastering the recoil on it at a minimum, but at that time only 1 shot needed. Lems using the more recently rebuffed Scorpion to swing out on Tex. Also deals with, so far, one of the more impactful players from Fnatic, removing the stronger entry capability from the team.
It's been rough for Fnatic so far, but they can always bring it back. Mentalist thinks he has a bead on someone. See if he can possibly get that to go through, but Falls currently working his way into Coat. BDS is playing it extremely passively right now. They don't have to do too much because Fnatic is not moving. Still have one concussion on Virtue, so they can handle Ella inside of VIP, but they're still worried about this flank, and they damn well should be, because they are coming. Trying to find some utility to destroy on the ground as Mentalist as he peeks in. Oh, but doesn't see the head over the bar. Shifts back down the staircase. BDS getting a little bit more aggressive to the northeastern side. Ella swings and gets obliterated from Lusty. Fnatic trying to bring this back.
Shaiko now going to be regrouping with the team in just a moment here. He does that position to drop down into that freezer position. The problem is, though, does Fnatic even expect that to happen at this point? Do they have the appropriate overwatch on their flanks to make sure that this does not end up happening? And Shaiko shuts them down again, but no, he's allowed to go unrestricted here. That's the diffuser down. No real way for Fnatic to get this back as their player count continues to dwindle. Virtue already the last man standing, and as you might expect, time will just run out there. BDS claims round number 5. They're only one more away from a flawless opening half here on the main stage.
This is a nasty, nasty, nasty defense that BDS is running. I don't know what other way to describe it, really. I mean, they're all over whatever Fnatic is trying to do, whether it be vertical pressure or whatever, and they find every single hole in this offense. Shaiko really didn't have a kill throughout that entire round, up until the most impactful one where he killed Hibana crawling into Freezer, all because he played his room correctly. Notice that they left that mid-floor, got upstairs through red, and was able to play the hatch that they had opened. So just BDS firing on every single cylinder right now.
There's even a moment where it looked like we were going to see Shaiko trying to rotate onto the team's direct push by going through bar and pillar stairs, but ended up making the really smart call, realizing that they were once again going to try and push their way in through freezer wall, and that they had that hatch open. They can just abuse that position and move right in to shut down the push before it even starts.
Fnatic's issue is that they really don't have too much flank watch going on for them when it comes down to these clutch moments, and that's how stuff like that happens, where Shaiko just gets to rotate up for free. It's a very difficult thing to watch because Fnatic has not been making these mistakes thus far throughout the entire tournament. It's really just been these last 2 games that have really been punishing them.
Lems and the rest of BDS, the setup phase will continue here. They've got the Echo in play once again. Echo being a very controversial is the right word to use operator among some of our pro players here. It's very annoying, basically, is the way to put it.
I'd say controversial. I mean, everyone hates him or loves him.
He's one of our most banned operators. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, yokai drones are not fun. Shaiko going wild, and he gets one! Virtue! Got to keep your gun up there, buddy. Got to make sure those spawn kills don't happen. Shaiko double digits on the defense.
Good opening once again from BDS. And here's where that delay could cause issues for Fnatic even further. We were just talking about Echo. Well, what does Echo do? Echo has 2 drones called yokai drones. He can attach them to the ceiling, and once that's done, they'll turn invisible after a few seconds. He'll also be able to shoot out an electronic pulse from out. That may not seem like it does much, but once you learn that it can interrupt plants, then you realize how dangerous he can be, especially if those drones are left unchecked. And even more interesting is the fact that Fnatic currently do not have an IQ, which has utility to see where those are. Mentalist with a well-placed frag grenade, though, will start to trade back the kills on this round as he eliminates RXWD. And that's the smoke going down as well.
It's going to be a phone down, but doesn't look like Mentalist will have easy access to it. It's currently down inside of the Humidor and Cigar Shop, so they have to get control of that entire area, which has been a very, very big struggling point for Fnatic so far. BDS, though, again, very passive, got the first pick. That's all they're worried about. Work their way back to site and just wait and have Fnatic sit and spin on this timer. Lusty running out the rest of Christmas. Sees a castle barricade, so they know that they're pretty safe for the time being, and there's no nitro cells underneath either.
Just about half the round remaining for Fnatic to make their impact, to make the push happen. Magnet nearly getting cut off. The same fate for another player that tries to cross, but at the same time, the damage is instead returned onto Shaiko with just a little bit being done onto Mentalist. There's those yokai drones, by the way. One's going to be set up on the ceiling, just trying to use it to gain intel right now instead of the utility from it. Shaiko will hold position inside of the freezer with Renshiro swinging out on the inside of the bathroom. Maverick will start to open up holes in this wall to give the team a better look inside and maybe open up the possibility for a nade chuck here in a second as well, if they have any left on the attacking side. Our defenders having to dodge ever so carefully around these holes as they're quite quiet, being made there by Maverick. And if you're in the midst of a gunfight, you may not realize one opens up right behind you. Either way, though, time going to become limited here from Fnatic once again. Down to the last 40 seconds to start their defuse.
This is the thing about Siege, folks. If you guys are a new viewer, this is when it's for all the marbles. Things got to happen fast. Tex gets the first kill. That was greatly needed. That's going to be Shaiko, but it's immediately traded back by Elims. Still have positioning on white stairs as well. That's the backbone of the site. They need to keep control of that. Otherwise, you're going to have to worry about 2 channels of access instead of just 1. As we get under that 15-second clock, there has to be a move made here from Fnatic. They're hopping the bar. It's going to be the Alda. Let it sing. Renshiro with the kill over on white, and Rafal to clean it up.
BDS with a flawless defensive half, winning every single round, and now sit 6-0 against Fnatic. One more round is all they need on this attacking side, and they've got the first map under their control.
I know you and I often say that, things are dire for a certain team, right? If there was ever a time to say that a situation was dire for Fnatic, it would be right now. They're currently down 6-0. They're going to defensive side, though. The issue is that they cannot make a single misstep. If anything happens, Fnatic is done here. So that was a very nice frag grenade.
Say it was dire now. It was dire 3 rounds ago. Now it's drastic. Fnatic need to wake up immediately and have something close to what BDS was just able to pull off, but I'm not certain if they're going to be able to do it. It's going to be a tough ask to be sure by Fnatic. We'll be finding out if it's possible in just a moment as we've already begun the 7th round.
All right, well, let's get down into it, shall we? Fnatic going to be holding the bar upstairs first, making some impacts through the mini bar areas inside of the actual bar, so you have some vision on the default plant area. Overall, though, relatively speaking, the same setup that BDS was running. There isn't too much change for rotation holes or anything like that. 3 reinforcements inside of the bathroom area, rotate hole. Yeah, this is, again, going to be about the same thing that BDS was running. We'll see if Fnatic gets as aggressive. You guys saw that aggressive hold that we saw from Shaiko inside a bar, playing very close to the skylight drop. For Fnatic, though, it looks like it's going to be played back a little bit farther. Tex in a very aggressive position for the time being.
Fnatic taking, I think, a much more traditional stance from what we expect on defending teams on this map, kind of yielding over control of certain parts of the 3rd floor immediately to the attackers, so as not to risk any lost players. That was one question I had coming into this series, was Fnatic's entry capability and opening kill capability from the defensive side. It was a little bit of a mixed bag, even in the series that they were able to win. And in their most recent series, prior to this one versus TSM, it really did drop off a cliff. And once again, it seems like it is impacting them here, as almost all of these rounds have been led by a BDS opening frag.
Still plenty of time here. Nice frag grenade. Doesn't do any damage, though, to the defense, so that's just going to be burnt. Rest of BDS, though, currently focusing on Christmas. Still need some information game to come through for what's going on inside of Pixel and everything else in between. Defense, though, just playing back for the time being. Not nearly as aggressive as BDS was. We saw BDS get those first picks that Blue were talking about, then immediately back off and let Fnatic try and figure things out. But BDS, once again, being the aggressor, and specifically Shaiko takes down his rival in this one, Tex.
Shaiko back on the R4C for this game as well. He's been running with the G36C for a lot of other matches here. It has been making a huge difference. So, Renshiro, take a look at his position now, as he might find himself a fight over the next couple of seconds. He does have Mentalist right around the corner on that mute. He's waiting to take the fight against him, but not finding it just at this moment. Instead, it's going to be Rafal from across the way, who manages to catch Magnet back over on Nubauk, eliminating the Echo and preventing that Yokai drone usage in the late round.
Well, gonna get rid of one of the castle barricades. Lusty finally gets a kill for Fnatic, though. That's a big pick, gets 2. Shaiko and RXWD both down. Big pick onto Shaiko as well. Even with that low of HP, he's still a very dangerous man. Nitro Cell gets thrown out. Rafal punishes. Oh, that's gonna be a double for him on the round, as they have complete control of the entire site. Virtue and Mentalist to try and clutch this up. This diffuser's going down inside a Cocktail. They have all the Overwatch and all the bullets to send their way. A little bit of damage done to Virtue as it's now into the post plant. Renshiro gets the first one. It's all down to Mentalist in this 1 versus 3. He needs to clutch up. Otherwise, it's a 7-0 going to BDS.
Certainly a way to shut out those who doubted BDS, including the 2 of us. BDS dominate this opening map 7-0 against Fnatic. And certainly puts a lot of pressure for the last remaining APAC squad in this tournament to perform going into map number 2. They will need a heroic resurgence to get themselves back into the flow of things as we get ready to move into the second map over the next couple of moments. But there's a lot to be discussed before we do that, so let's throw it back over to Veli here to break things down in map number 1.
Thank you very much, guys. That was some great casting, but an even better game if your name wasn't Fnatic. We saw Emzo. Was this an Owen sighting?
I think we saw Owen today. He showed up right in the first
Owen
match.
showed up, right?
Yeah, it's not great to see him, but you know what? It happens.
Right. What was the biggest thing that you saw in this matchup? What did Fnatic not do?
I mean, fight back, honestly. They really just, they didn't have good control of anything. Their entries were getting shut down, so they couldn't even control their entrances. They couldn't get any map control. They never really got any site control because BDS said, this is our bunker, and it was almost like tentacles lashing out from the octopus at them at all times. They were just getting peak to peak to peak. You couldn't get anywhere in the map.
Yeah, one thing for me, especially you, my biggest cause for concern was the reason why Shaiko was able to get that ace. There is no reason why Shaiko could stand in bar and kill 5 people, only taking about 5 steps.
Yeah, it was like shooting fish in a barrel for Shaiko. And something else that really helped out BDS on their defenses was the fact that not only did they always have information on Fnatic, but they kept pinging Fnatic because they knew that Fnatic was so bad at destroying the Okai drones, the Mozzie drones. So the more they're pinging him, it gives really easy information to players like Shaiko to enable plays, and it also really hypes up the stress of all those Fnatic players, seeing that you are being spotted. Little warning, because they were clearly out of their brains, frazzled from the start. I don't think they really woke up this morning.
No, not at all.
And I think a big part of that was the aggressive Yokai play as well. When they were playing Echo, you saw them hitting people in Christmas, in Piano. They were just studying them, taking advantage of the additional intel, and as well, they just weren't bringing counters to that. They brought the Dokkaebi finally on round 6, when it was finally useful, and they started to have some pushback, as well as the Maverick as well. The Kaede was really forcing them to spend a ton of utility and time just trying to open the freezer hatch. That entire time they're standing in one spot, stacked up 2-3 people just working on that. So the lack of adaptation and counters, honestly, from the simple things, that Echo, the Dokkaebi buff against Echo went in, use it.
Yeah, speaking about a lack of adaptability, I mean, the reason why Fnatic lost, would you say it was because of just not being able to kill anybody, or was it strategy based?
I think it's psychology based, to be honest, and often you dissect things into either being strategic or fragging oriented, but there's something that trumps both of those, which is psychology. You could be the best player in the world, but you could only fulfill 5% of your potential on a day if you're feeling down in the dumps, and every moment that BDS had an advantage, it just furthered and threw it back in Fnatic's face. To put some context to it, the Fnatic players, we saw Tex top the scoreboard, I suppose, on Fnatic's side. He had decent entries, but 5 rounds in, he was the only player in the game with more than a single frag.
Yeah, take a look at the stats. Lusty, 3 kills. Virtue got a breadstick from the French, and the rest of them got bodied as well. But heading into map 2, this is BDS's map pick now. How much in trouble are Fnatic?
Consulate is a good map for both of these teams. Kafe should have on paper been definitely better for Fnatic, but clearly, that happened, 7-0. Consulate, I think the thing that you've got to be most worried about is if Fnatic are unable to reset. What I really hope they're doing right now, going backstage, Dizzle's saying, come on guys, we know how to play the game. Yeah. It's not about that. It's about having fun. Go out there. Don't let that pressure get to you. These guys are gunners. That's fine. So are you. You're better. Step up and play your hearts out.
But that's what blew my mind. When we saw Fnatic on that huge tear in stage 2, they utilized group play. They utilized numbers to just dispose of any type of roamers out there. We didn't see that this time around. The intel was just non-existent on their side. But now, BDS. Do you think they're going to send the Kangaroo Boys home?
This is a repeat of Fnatic TSM. That was just foreshadowing. It's the same thing again. The problems that they had on Consulate versus TSM are the same problems they had here on Kafe. As much faith as I had going into this, I've unfortunately lost a lot of it for Fnatic. I'm seeing BDS 2-0 this at this point because we're seeing just Fnatic TSM again, and they should have learned something from that, and that saddens me.
Yeah, so heading into map 2, what do you want to see from Fnatic on Consulate? Playstyle-wise, anything out there? You know a lot about this team.
I really think that we need to see Fnatic start to suppress BDS, and something that they could use to do that, they've done this on Coastline before, is bring that Lion consistently.
Okay.
Try to suppress the roaming and that mobility that these defenders often have. And we know that Shaiko and the rest of BDS don't really like playing against that because they've banned it previously on Coastline as well. I feel like Fnatic need to start suppressing some of that. I don't know whether they want to bring a Nomad. They love bringing Nomad on this map.
You would have to against them.
Yeah, just start shutting these guys down and don't let... The one thing you need to do is just don't let it get to you. Whatever happens, you could be down 6 points, doesn't matter. Don't let it get to you, just keep fighting.
I feel like ops are going to be way more important in this map more than the last for the fact that we saw Fnatic's weakness. Would you say that they need more Jackal, more Lion?
Dokkaebi.
You have to bring it at this point, right?
You have grenades on it now as well.
Yeah.
They're going to be bringing Maestro and Echo if they can. You hack those cams.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this can be it for Apex. Last hope. Fnatic with their backs against the wall. BDS up 1-0. Stokes and Blue, take it away.
Thank you very much, Veli. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our second map. It is time to see if Fnatic can successfully rally themselves back together after a very unfortunate performance on Kafe that left them without a single round. Consulate, however, should prove to be a much closer battlefield for these two teams. And we're going to find out if that is true over the next few minutes.
This is one of those issues where Fnatic is inside their own heads right now. In order to break that, it's a very, very difficult thing. A lot of people go through it when they are doing something that they love. They don't want to fail, and that's a big problem. But you just got to remember why you love what you're doing, why you're doing it. All of that stuff assists you a lot in getting through this. It isn't everybody sitting here in this crowd. It's just you with a mouse and keyboard trying to beat the guy across from you just like you're at home. Just play you. Just do you, Scotty P. Just do you.
Right, well, the second ban is coming out right now. We've got a Thatcher once again being removed from the equation by BDS. We'll see if they follow the more meta trends, as this is the first series in a while we've seen them kind of shifting away from the Thermite bans, which has been a very popular mainstay from them. They are going to stick with their same ban from the previous map, though. Again, we've talked about this before. Valkyrie is pretty much a 50% ban rate for this team, so they either knock her out or someone else, so it's not too surprising to see Valkyrie being removed for the second time. And this time, Echo will also be taken out of the mix.
Yeah, Echo's a very influential operator that can end rounds just by himself with yokai drones. If you have an amazing Echo player, he can do a lot of damage to offenses. They don't want to deal with that. So that's going to get stripped. Fnatic starting on defense for Consulate. We'll see where they're headed here in a couple of moments. But Consulate goes one of two ways. Either very complex, where you're more just executing on the site, so you can get those executes to go off, or the defense just plays extremely aggressive and it's just all-out gunfights the entire map. We'll have to see how this goes. Is Fnatic going to go back to their old ways throughout this tournament of just being so successful with their style of play, or are they going to roll over once again?
Well, if there was ever a stage for them to rally in, this would be it. See if they're going to be able to put themselves back together. And they have the defensive half to start off on, so hopefully a little bit more breathing room being thrown their way. Not having to worry about the incredible aggression on the defensive side that we saw from BDS, which I'm almost certain will continue here on our second map as well. Once we get past the first half and see BDS themselves jump onto the defensive side.
You know, this guy from this game that we commentate said, we got to come together to be stronger apart. So maybe they should just try that, try the Harry route. Might work for
some
them.
advice from
Never know. Hey,
Rainbow Six.
Hey, I mean, Rainbow Six has changed a lot of people's lives. There wouldn't be basically a full stadium without it. So, but for Fnatic though, they're gonna be starting upstairs. They're gonna have Tex actually shifting off of the very aggressive ops that he was playing before. Instead, he's gonna be playing with Maestro. Yes, I know it has 81 bullets, but he's still an anchor operator. It's just that he's a walking turret anchor operator. We're gonna have Virtue on the Jaeger, trying to work some of the roam game that is hopefully more successful for their liking.
Lem's gonna get himself on Repel here in just a second, more than likely. Just dealing with that default cam real quick and trying to avoid getting spotted by it so someone doesn't pre-fire him the second he tries to swing up on that Repel. RXWD, in the meanwhile, will start taking the first bits of control on the map for BDS. It's going to be an east to west clear. Pay attention to that compass on the bottom center of the screen. Starting out with this room in admin and slowly swinging over into the site itself, potentially using the yellow stairs on the other side of the map as an angle as well.
This is the difference in playstyle. You guys see how quickly Shaiko's working these angles, seeing if he can get any kills, no shifting, keeping his gun up. Very intelligent play here, but did you guys know that Fnatic has only played Consulate a single time at the Invitational? 2-7 loss to TSM in the upper bracket semifinal. That was a game that they lost earlier this week.
Oh my goodness.
So Shaiko's gonna get his cam stolen anyways after he was trying to dodge one of those pests from Mozzie. It's not gonna be the mute Mozzie combo, it's just gonna be the Mozzie.
I just love how he spent like a good 10 seconds trying to get intel, despite the fact that he couldn't get past, and then he runs directly into one anyway. It'll now be dealt with. That pest just now getting shot out by Renshiro, if you're wondering what he was aiming at there. Now ready to send in his first stun charge here. Catch some of the members of Fnatic and hopefully at the very minimum keep them at bay for a second while BDS tries to move out into long desk hall to take control.
Working their way in, might have first contact here as Shaiko continues to work his way up. He likes that aggressive style of play. He loves these gunfights, but doesn't get any to land onto Tex. BDS has most of Projector now, but they still have to worry about somebody down low that could possibly play spoils for getting this diffuser down. Shaiko checking out Spiral, but works his way back in. Rest of BDS waiting to try and take over this room. Still have to worry about Connector here. Fnatic doing a good job of playing passively, just making BDS wait for this utility usage. One of the initial toxic babes out here from Magnet, but Shaiko's worked his way all the way up. We're gonna have a trade, but Diffuser's still getting stuck down. Renshiro gets a kill as well onto the man and Connector. Diffuser is planted. Nice shot from Lusty onto CEO Windows, but this is post-plant now. They have to worry about these upside down repels. RX catches Virtue on rotation. A nice shot from Renshiro to shut down Tex. It's all up to Lusty working his way through short. Approaching the door slow and steady, but he can't win it out, and BDS on 8 rounds in a row.
An incredibly close affair there between BDS and Fnatic, but ultimately like, BDS just having a little bit too much post-plant control over the site for themselves, left not enough room for Fnatic to re-engage and have much of a hope of knocking out the players, especially the ones outside on rappel or waiting on the balcony. And as such, they falter. And it was a 3v3 for a moment there, but BDS just barely holding on with quite a few of their players at low HP. Much closer than the opening rounds that we saw back on the first map on Kafe, at least. But nonetheless, BDS will take the edge at the start of this map.
A bomb has been located.
Fnatic needs to go back to trusting their guns. BDS is doing a fantastic job of getting aggro because that's Fnatic. What Fnatic doesn't want them to do. BDS is just walking right up to site, getting access through utility. There's really no gunfights because Fnatic is playing so passive. They were already trying to get a diffuser down with really only having one gunfight, Shaiko and them exchanging words, but no bullets landing. That was it. There was really nothing else that was going for Fnatic in that. Trust your guns. You guys are a world-class team. You're playing on a world-class stage. This is your time to shine. You just have to get back to center.
And it looks like we might be seeing at least a little bit of that now that we've shifted sight down to the basement for Fnatic. Virtue specifically going on to the Ellis is certainly some roam presence to come out from that. And the same can be said for Magnet on the Vigil, who has the capability to hide himself from drones.
Well, it seems for the time being that maybe a 2-0 getting picked by DevMarta wasn't the best idea. Maybe he should have just went with his gut and said, you know what, Fnatic will do it. We'll blame Dev
at least
for that.
now he'd be right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's Dev's fault, but what? Where was that kill from, Renshiro? What is that lineup? That's insane. Thanks for showing me. I appreciate it. Some bullets in through the door, through Teller. So nice pre-fire there. Gets that initial kill. Oh
my goodness.
My. What a catch. And that's just insult to injury. Salt in the wound for Fnatic.
Find the body right in the middle of Visa. Once again, Tex just has to be so mad at himself for that one timing ultimately at the end of the day as he runs past it just when BDS were opening up the door. Not even looking for a kill there. Just happens to go their way by the chance of those two players lining up angles.
Oh? Oh, I love this. He's actually going to rotate away. Magnet has an opportunity here, but he's got to get some high heels out of the way first. Got to move the shoe rack around, otherwise he could be in some trouble, but Shaiko's going to make it even more difficult as he gets another kill into Virtue. Magnet needs to come up big here. He gets one, but immediately rotates away. Dashes over to Projector, still has one in tow with him. Lusty upstairs, but Lusty drops, gets fragged. Renshiro gets a double. Nice lineup for him, but now it's all down to Magnet to try and make this work. He's the only one that's gotten a kill in this round so far. Can't even get the double. Renshiro ready once again. BDS is just all over Fnatic.
BDS in so much control right now. Great play ultimately from Magnet, but it meant nothing as the site defenders fail to even find any trades for themselves for the most part downstairs.
Yeah, the issue is as well is that Fnatic has played this map extremely recently, and they got 7-2 there as well. So they haven't even gotten around yet in this entire series. And you're talking about going up against a team that has fresh VOD on your setups on the defensive side. This is going to be very, very difficult. Just, Renshiro did something with a 4-leaf clover this morning because that is so lucky. It is ridiculous. But for Fnatic on this defensive side, again, they just need to try and bring something to the table they're not bringing right now. And that's that aggressive play style that we're used to. We don't see them taking these gunfights. And that in that last round there, the only person that we really saw get into an engagement was, Magnet. But even him shot a guy in the back. He shot a guy in the back. So for Fnatic, these 1v1s are just not working out for them. And sadly, sometimes it really just goes that way.
And in Magnet's case, Magnet's really only meant to be finding impact in the early round, later to fall back and either die on the rotate back or play further into the site. So completing his job, but the rest of the team just not finding their impact at the moment. Whether they ever will or not is still yet to be seen in this series, as it's been 9 rounds in a row for BDS, which is very impressive.
BDS, especially in that last round, was just able to cut through what Fnatic wanted to do. We had a nice roam there from Magnet, but again, BDS had already worked their way onto site. They were already in the mid-floor killing everyone and had the angle set up so that Fnatic had no place safe to be able to rotate back to site. So that's the issue right now, is that Fnatic is known. Everything that they're doing, BDS knows. They're basically living inside of their heads rent-free at this moment.
So we've got BDS that's once again going to swing in for early control here. They're going to be going up against the lobby hold, and Shaiko again opens up the pathway for his team with the entry onto Virtue. That's the Jaeger for the defensive side, getting knocked out. Tex, though, with a trade right back at it. Take a quick replay here at Shaiko's entry kill. Nicely found, catches Virtue. He's none the wiser. Now the rest of the team will start to move in behind them, and they'll set up some of those air jabs. That's what the Nomad is doing, Rafal at the moment. Prevent rotates through. If they pass that threshold, that white circle that's being deployed after they put it down, then the opponent will get knocked back and stunned momentarily.
Makes for some pretty easy kills if you run into one. A lot of the times very difficult to find, and well, there you guys go. That's exactly what an air jab does. You get knocked on your butt, you get shot in your head from Shaiko. That's how that one works. Another stun grenade in. He's out of stuns now, so he can't try and blind his opponent. He's just gonna have to try and take this 1v1. Magnet trying to stick around inside of yellow, contesting the bathroom window, but shifts his way over towards the top of it instead. Shaiko, as well as one in tow with him on BDS, working their way up spiral. They have all of long desk control for the time being. Tex currently over at the top of admin, needs to work his way back into projector, otherwise this could be pretty dangerous. Nice bulletproof setup there. We'll get some intel, as should tell them that Shaiko and Elims are both at the top of spiral for the time being at least.
Once again, positions being maintained by Fnatic. Tex has been doing a very good job of trying to delay and at best find a few trades for himself before ultimately getting traded out of the round. And this time trying to do that same exact thing. He's got to lean in here over the next couple seconds. It's not just him either. He's got support from the rest of his teammates here as well. Renshiro in the meanwhile droning downstairs to make sure nothing is afoot from Fnatic. And BDS in the meanwhile starting to get low on time. They will need to swing on these players in the next couple seconds. If they aren't able to establish any crossfire to work off of it, it'll be a very, very big risk. Here comes the push. There is a shield to support them. Lusty holds his first target, and we'll see Magnet commit himself to a push, but that's the trap as Rafal has the rotate cut off against Magnet's favor, taking him out of the play and leaving only Tex alive, who rotated back over here by Vending. He's got good pings coming in, a lot of good intel, more than likely from his cameras, but still being very cautious, trying to wait this out, trying to force the hand of BDS. That's exactly what's going to happen here, but no! Still falls into the favor of BDS as Renshiro takes the final fight and closes out for his team.
You want to talk about the last European representative making a statement. This is 10 rounds in a row, folks. That's 10 rounds in a row for BDS. That is insurmountable. It's ridiculous. But for Fnatic, they're getting down on these clutch opportunities, but we're just not seeing them be able to actually win these out like they had in the past. There was quite a few that they've won throughout the tournament so far, but BDS, again, just all over them when it comes to anything. Even coming down to that last execution that they had, it was a great play by BDS, shifting Rafal over to the connector window. That's all they were waiting for on Spiral. They needed somebody else to be able to hold the rotation when stuff like this happened and things got messy. And as you guys saw, Rafal was able to bag 2 quick kills and opened up the entire site for them to be able to get that diffuser down.
BDS showing some true strength right now and a lot out of this team that we necessarily haven't seen. And also at the same time, Fnatic dropping off a cliff right now. Not much impact being found from them due to the mastery of the game currently being played out by BDS. Split site is where we're gonna head towards next though, as BDS has now completed 3 rounds in a row. Time to start the run once again.
Well, split site for the defense. Might be a last-ditch effort here to try and make something work. Gonna have Lusty on the Mira. More than likely not gonna have any of those set upstairs. They'll be set down to try and stop any push coming from Garage. You have to do kind of a split push on this site. You're gonna want top control on this. You treat it kind of like Kafe, start from admin, work your way across, or start from CEO and do the exact opposite. But the main thing is you need pressure on 2 sites. You need pressure downstairs and upstairs in order to make this work. Otherwise, the Nitro cells can just eat you alive.
Only one team in the past has failed to win a single round in an international LAN playoff. It was Fnatic during the Pro League Season 8 finals. It's a memory that I'm sure they're not looking forward to potentially repeating if they can't get themselves back into this game. A little bit of a mishap there from Lem's drone, but the quick correction is he'll just work his way back down and chuck that right up once again.
This is one thing to notate. Alims hasn't been nearly as impactful as he's been through these last games because he doesn't need to be. He's 0-1-1. He's just trying to put diffusers down. He's letting the hot hands handle the dirty work, and it's working out great for BDS. They're moving so quickly through these maps. I mean, Renshiro's already inside of Anti. It's 2 minutes and 5 seconds. They've practically cleared this entire damn thing already.
Renshiro's also 6-0 right now, and I would take a guess as to say that he is not the only player that is yet to die on BDS here, although it's certainly been close in quite a few cases. No, he is the only player that hasn't died yet. But either way, props to Renshiro for his performance.
Oh,
that's the reason why he hasn't gone down yet. What a swing on Tex.
That was disgusting. Tex is gonna have to think about that one for a second. Some breaching charges upstairs on Ash of all characters. So gonna use those on the floor to make sure that no rotates can happen. All 3 down, plenty of angles, see an open hatch. RX is getting so much intel, but it's BDS across the entire map. It's domination as more Fnatic members fall. Pop a mirror for good measure. Magnet finally gets another kill. But again, it might be too little too late. Hops a shield, gets fragged. It's all down to Mentalist to try and make something happen. Stun grenades pour in, but the plant's already happening from a Lems. Mentalist, don't believe has a Nitro Cell or even any intel to make this happen, but Rafal catches him right as he tries to get around the wall, and that's gonna be yet again another BDS round.
Bit of an awkward duel here to end the round, of course, but it still goes Rafal's way, and that's what matters. Everything going BDS's way right now. Very early map control, very early setup. First kill, once again, going into the hands of Renshiro there, who, by the way, did finally die towards the end of that round, but not before he managed to find himself great impact in catching out the roam.
The issue right now, as much as we have to go back to it, but that's just part of the job, folks, is well, things are not going well for Fnatic in any sense of the word. Just like this gunfight right here. Tex almost gets him, but he ends up just glancing his shoulder instead. Thought he had the headshot, but wasn't the proper lineup. BDS just pure domination. There's really nothing to be said that we haven't said about Fnatic already. These defenses are just not holding. The roam games aren't working out. The aggression from BDS is just amazing right now. They're able to take control of the entire map in under a minute. Everything for BDS is going in their favor.
Same as our first map, Fnatic taking their pause first. Already quite a bit of that time used, so in fact it's over now. We're gonna be jumping back into the game in just a second. As Fnatic hopefully have figured out what the issue is and are going to execute on that as we move into the 5th round.
Well, let's see where we're headed for this one. We already have the operators locked in, so let's figure out exactly what bomb site we're working with, shall we? We're gonna be all the way downstairs this time, folks. This is one that Fnatic actually hasn't played yet. Have not played Garage, so this is gonna be the first time that they played that. Reinforcements, as you do, the 3-set on the Garage. We're actually going to have Magnet on Bandit, which is something that we haven't seen a lot of when it comes to defenses as of late. Kaid's actually been played a lot more, and it's because of where the standard location you set Bandit batteries are and the area where Bandit has to play. That's an area that almost every single player in the entire world knows inside of Rainbow Six, and you can practically kill him from several areas on the map. And this one specifically, you can either kill him from yellow stairs or you can get access to Piano and shoot him from above. So that's why people have been using Kaid to try and trick instead and banning Thatcher.
We do have the utility that's necessary in order to burn that player out of position between Renshiro working on the Zofia once again in order to bring those charges and open the floorboards to any potential breaching charges they may have brought for utility. On top of that, you've also, at worst case, got the Ash charges, which you can also deploy into the floor and complete that job. A little bit overkill on the hard breach as well this time from BDS, just to make sure they can get everything open, as they brought not only the Thermite, which is the larger breaching of the two main methods the teams use to do it, but also Hibana, that operator in the bottom right, that opens smaller holes per utility use.
Well, on a stage very similar to this one in 2018, a team made a comeback from very, very, very far behind, all the way by 2 maps. We're able to bring it back and lift a hammer. I'm pretty sure you guys know who I'm talking about. Fnatic could definitely take second, because I don't think it's going to beat that one. But this comeback, if it starts right now, could be huge. And Magnet starting it off right.
The other POV here for Magnet, again, as we take a look at that quick replay from the opening kill. To be able to find that opener. It's on Shaiko as well, a player that's been incredibly crucial for BDS in terms of finding early round kills and opening up avenues for the team to attack. Now it's going to have to be someone else that does that job, and this is where the concerns start to come in for BDS. This is where they've struggled before. Rafal going to be the next to go down. RXWD does finally pick up a trade and follows it up with a second. Now trying to go for 3, but he realizes he won't win that fight. Bails out. Works his way into break room, where he's now holding. No push from Fnatic to kill him, so he'll survive for now, but at the cost of Alems, who will be picked off by Mentalist at yellow stairs.
This is the time for Fnatic to set pace. They need to bring themselves back in. Could be a good tack pause here. Works out for him. Diffuser down on the western side of the map as RXWD and Renshiro will make a powwow inside of V's office. Do have air jab set up, so you don't have to worry too much about these flanks from Fnatic. But the rest of the Fnatic members currently sitting inside of sight. We actually do have one person upstairs inside of the bathroom. Oh no, not again! RXWD with the lineup this time gets 2. Diffuser still down on yellow. That's where Virtue is. It's all down to the clutch. No kills yet on this map. Needs 2 this time. They know he's here. Concussion out, pre-fire. Got to keep that mag on the high end. You need to kill 2 people. He wins the first one. Can he get the second? Backs off, repeat! And finally, Fnatic gets something going.
After 11 consecutive rounds being picked up by BDS, Fnatic are finally on the board after a great clutch from Virtue to hold the yellow stairs. Plenty of time to try and approach that differently for BDS, but they choose not to. Go for the direct contention. And that goes how most of those fights you'd expect to go. A great hold once again from Fnatic in order to clutch it out. And it's finally put them onto the board. Never really should have gotten to that situation in the first place, though. They had great control leading up to it. They allowed another player from BDS to really go off that round. It was RXWD, whose replay we're looking at right now.
I feel like the next tack pause is going to be, guys, please turn your silhouettes back on. You keep lining up and getting shot in the face. That needs to stop happening. Because, I mean, look at this. How is that mistake being made? That is not something you see on an everyday basis, and we've seen it twice inside of this game.
It's the second time we've seen it go down. First time for this map, of course, but Virtue, once again, coming out huge, finally capitalizing on a haphazard approach from BDS to just try and take the fight with the 2 players comboed together. It does not work. Most of those normally won't work. And Virtue is able to shut it down in the 2v1.
And that's what they needed. They needed this round to be the tinder for their fire. They need to get back into this game, get that headspace clear, and try and make something happen. Because right now, it is not going very well for them. But at the least, it's not going to be like Season 8 finals.
I like the candid approach from Virtue there as well. He's like, we got one on the board. That's the start.
It's not a blowout if we get 1. That's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Still a long way to go, however, for Fnatic in this map. It's certainly approachable. Even at a 4-2 defensive half, it's just going to be very, very difficult. And then there's still map 3 to focus on as well. If they do succeed in swinging this back into their favor, they've got to get ready to play on the Clubhouse.
Yeah, and that's the trouble. Oh my goodness. Troublesome thing is that BDS has been playing so very aggressive on defense. So Consulate is a map where you can do that very, very well, and having Shaiko run around with the 416C seems like the situation Fnatic really doesn't want to be in at this scoreline.
Renshiro trying to take a look in through the skylight directly above Spiral. Nothing being presented by Fnatic at this point in the round. So we'll not be able to capitalize on. Oh, Shaiko again with the entry though, moves up, quickly deletes Virtue's head from existence.
Very nice shot from Shaiko. So they currently have short desk control. Still need to transition this though into something bigger. A free kill as Lusty's looking at the sky. Rafal with a double, and they're shoving Fnatic right back into their home.
BDS just so in the game right now. The great game sense from their entire roster as they are not letting anything from Fnatic catch them. Multiple runouts, flanks against them. It's just not working, despite Fnatic putting themselves into situations where they absolutely should be getting these kills.
Shaiko worried about the flank already. It's down to Magnet and Mentalist. Magnet gets the first kill though. Still a long road ahead of them. They have top Spiral control as Fnatic is trying to find some safe space, but the issue is now is that Rafal's working his way in from behind. They got a ping downstairs. Mentalist gets one with the TCS G12. A little bit of your own medication there, BDS, as they're trying to put this diffuser down inside of Projector. Started up, but Mentalist shuts one down inside of Long. Renshiro has Overwatch for the time being, but that's going to be into the post plant. A little bit of damage, but he gets outside anyway. So Lem's going to stay inside, down to the 2 versus 2. They're going to need some information here, but there's no information inside, so it's all down to the face peaks. Alems tells Renshiro to abandon ship. Alems hops down a hatch and gets a free kill. All of a sudden, it's Mentalist to try and clutch this up. He knows that the other one has vacated the premises. They're trying to get a drone inside, but he's already on it. Is it going to be enough? He can't get the angle, and Mentalist gets a free one. Look at his face. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Even Mentalist doesn't understand what happened right there. He's like, I guess we'll take it. As he is going to be able to get that defuse off. Very well played by Mentalist, keeping the team in the game as well. Making sure that they stay alive. There's that candid approach once again that we talked about before. I think I misidentified Mentalist as Virtue before. Apologies for that. But either way, Fnatic taking things lightly here as they do find some semblance of a comeback, although it's a very strange one at the end of that round, to put them back into the map.
Montreal, how do we feel about Fnatic making this interesting? Let's keep that energy high, folks. You're at LAN, you're here with your friends. Let's keep it going. This is a time to be loud, proud. This is where you get to be you. Let's make it happen, and hopefully Fnatic can follow suit. Look at how happy Magnet is. Oh, it's infectious, that man, let me tell you. Oh. That's a GIF right there. It's happening. It's already on Twitter, I guarantee it.
All right, guys. We're getting back into the game now. Taking a look at the next play from BDS here. So they're going to work on trying to swing this still up to 7. Remember, they've still got a pretty big lead into their favor. 4 rounds on the attacking side of Consulate is certainly nothing to scoff at. And in Fnatic's case, we'll need to bring a lot to the table, especially with some of the gun skill we've been seeing in the mid-round plays from BDS, to still allow themselves to swing another 5 rounds on this attacking side, or at minimum get 4 to guarantee OT.
Well, 4-2 split, not too shabby on Consulate. It's doable. Unlike the 6-0 on Kafe, that's where things were difficult. Right now, though, Fnatic has some room to grow into this. Looks like it's going to be a yellow take here for Fnatic as they're starting to dump utility into yellow, trying to clear out all those ADSs so they can get a frag grenade in. Magnet going to check to make sure those are burnt, but more than likely going to see that no one's there.
Texas continuing to hold the window. As Fnatic are going to once again take a very slow approach to the early round. It's not necessarily moving away from what we commonly expect from them, and that especially makes sense when you consider some of the early swing outs we've seen from players like Shaiko. They do have spots for it. They've seemed to already realize from the default cams they may have gotten a second or two of info off of before they get shot that there's going to be presence working its way in towards yellow stairs, and I'm sure that Fnatic are aware of this now. You can already see Magnet working to try and take out the floorboards. That's going up to the bathroom on the 2nd floor, where you usually do see 1 to 2 players potentially holding out on. Now, they're not there right now from BDS, but over the next few moments, we may see them retreat and swing back onto it.
Well, Fnatic, plenty of intel, but now they need to capitalize on it. As you can tell, the pace is a lot different now that they are on the offense. BDS would have been already down onto the site at this point in time. Oh, gonna be avoided the first time, but RX gets one, Shaiko gets another, but it's trades back and forth all across the board, but it's all orange. BDS, once again, being very dominant inside of these rounds. Virtue, the last remaining member for Fnatic. He needs to rotate from this window. They'll definitely know if he swings. Trying to get this freebie though right now.
Virtue trying to do the impossible here. A minute to do it, which in siege time is near infinite. So not going to be a concern in that regard. But Virtue still always gonna go for the rappel down spiral. This is bold, and he needs to bring some bold play into it if he wants to have a hope of clutching this one out. The odds stacked so heavily against him. The problem is they've heard that rappel from a mile away.
No way.
They're gonna be right on top of him. And that's the closeout from Rafal to give BDS their 5th.
I can only imagine that comes from BDS. Did you guys hear the skylight glass break? Yeah? Okay, he's got to be on the roof. No, I hear the rope noise. He's got to be on rappel. That was all right.
And at that point, they go, oh, well, this is easy then.
Yeah. Clay pigeon, very easy. But a clay pigeon that doesn't really move. Some very nice shots here from RX, and this is just pure negligence from Fnatic. Didn't draw out Garage. That's one of the areas you need to worry about when you're attacking Garage. And that's the issue when you misstep inside of Siege. If you don't check one of the boxes and you try to do something, that's where that guy's gonna be, and RX proves it once again.
It's a game of steps, and one step in the wrong direction can lead to your death so many times.
That's the beauty of it as an FPS, though. There's not very much room for error. If you make that one misstep, as you said, you just die.
Step right instead of left, you could be finding yourself dead to a single bullet from a pistol. And man, do you hate to see that happen.
Are we getting started now? I think this might be happening. This is our first chant of the day?
I think so.
Oh, we're warming it up? I like the energy, folks. Defense for BDS once again, though. Evil Eye set up for Renshiro. We're gonna have the clash play from RX. He's known for this, usually holding down yellow, so some bandit tricking can happen, but as we told you previously, not too much bandit tricking going on inside of the Six Invitational anyways, so we're just gonna have some mutes to put down for the time being, and they're just gonna try and play for when the door actually gets open.
BDS just 2 more rounds away from putting themselves into the second final match here for the lower bracket. That lower bracket semifinal they'd be able to move themselves into. We'll see that played out tomorrow, I believe. Tex, in the meanwhile, gonna start moving in for control. Not much hesitation on the move in this time from Tex into admin, considering the fact that we are playing on another floor, and due to the fact that we've already seen the drone work being done by Fnatic up here, they know that there is not much presence from BDS currently established. Doesn't mean there can't be presence later, though, so he is being cautious of rotates from the stairwell. He's got his teammate there on rappel to cover the one he just went past, and now he'll approach yellow and start clearing out top to bottom.
Much faster from Fnatic as well. I like the pacing. Still have to worry about the clash on yellow. No barb here, so some free area for Tex to travel through. Sees a barricaded door for Z, so he's more than likely going to have to go into piano. There's nobody to worry about for the time being in this mid-floor, though, so they have all of the time in the world in order to start opening up these vertical angles. But for Fnatic, this is great time. We haven't seen them get towards site this quickly throughout this entire series just yet. Running circles, though, as he knows that Clash is on yellow, so more than likely calling that to his team that is a setup from BDS. Again, this is one that they run quite often, but they just don't do it with Bandit anymore.
I think Tex was trying to crowd bait right there, actually. See me circling it?
Those are always the most fun.
Didn't really work that time, though.
Also, you can't shoot through that wall, but you can definitely shoot through this floor. Shaiko, he just breaks the realm of reality for Rainbow Six. Don't take gunfights looking up. I'll do that anyways.
So BDS, once again, get that okay. Going to be able to put themselves in a 5v4 advantage. Now, once again, Fnatic has a lot of control across the map. They're already getting ready to open up Garage, and they still have over a minute to start the execute. Opening working its way in. We've got no wall denial this time from BDS, but what we do have is a Shaiko who wants to take the fight. Finally fail at it, though, as Virtue picks up the kill instead, and now evens it out, down to a 4v4.
So for BDS, they need to keep RX up and have him move around this garage and just be annoying. I know that sounds strange, but he just needs to be annoying. Use that CCE shield, slow people down, don't let them have free reign of the garage. That's RX's job. He's regular at Clash once again, so we'll see how successful this goes. First Toxic Babe out here for the smoke of Rafal. Only 28 seconds left as Fnatic's trying to get this execute to go through. Lusty approaches top of yellow van here. Another smoke grenade out. Nice shot here from Virtue to shut it down. Lusty with one as well. It's all down to RX and Renshiro, but the issue is that there's way more Fnatic people. Tries to go for the 180, but it's not going to work. Renshiro with the Alda. Diffuser on Lusty. Gets the plant down now, though. Renshiro thought he had the line up, but it's Fnatic to get one round closer to tying this up.
Much more solid attack that time from Fnatic. We don't see anywhere near the aggression from BDS in the early round that has been present in previous attempts from them. They try to play it all onto the site, and for really the first time in such a decisive manner, we start to see it crumble away as Fnatic takes great control of the basement site.
Well, all came down to BDS trying to stay man up instead with that Clash in play because, well, Clash has to switch to her secondary pistol when things get crazy, and that's exactly how she got killed. Beautiful shot there from Virtue. Overall, a really nice round from Fnatic, able to get plenty of pressure early on, and that was the difference maker. We saw them sit and spin on the timer so much throughout their previous offensive rounds. This time, they finally took the initiative. They did what the name of the offense means. Go. You have to be the aggressive one. You have to take map control. That is your job. They were finally able to hold up that mantle.
BDS also with like a really detached setup inside of the site as well. Shaiko just kind of off on his own by White with no one else near him that could have realistically been able to trade that kill out in the event he went down. So trying to just get a little bit too bold here from BDS. However, that is how they play. That is a method that they still like to thrive into. And for the most part, it's been working. But as you saw there, it finally came back to bite them and in a big way with the loss of Shaiko. No one else in the front site to take any fights at that point. So Fnatic do just swing in quite easily, taking control and knocking out the cafeteria hold in the process.
Well, Bandit battery set up now for BDS. Are we going to have the Clash once again? We are not. So, obviously, since no Thatcher's in play, this is going to stay closed until they can get some vertical control. And this is the reason that BDS is doing this. They're going to try and play upstairs for this roam game. They want Fnatic to attack Piano. If Fnatic attacks Piano, these flankers from upstairs or these roamers can actually get a lot of kills and be extremely impactful.
Good 20 seconds into the round now. Not much, of course, occurring just yet here as Fnatic are still trying to focus primarily on droning and establishing cross angles before they even think about taking control of any part of Consulate right now, given the way that BDS has played in the past. You can see Magnet checking to see if anybody might go for the run out there. Something similar, as they do set up a small fight against a Lems, knocking out about half of his HP. Very little return on a Mentalist, I think was on the other side of that engagement.
Good full clear here from Fnatic, pressuring long. They already have control of admin as both BDS members run down yellow stairs. They've abandoned ship when it comes to the top floor, and they damn well should. Everything is broken up now, not much safe space to play. Only really the yellow stairs, but don't even want to stick around there. That's pretty self-explanatory. So they're going to try and take over the mid floor instead and deny as much time as possible. But for Fnatic, still checking all of their corners. Only about halfway through now as, yeah, we actually do still have one of these roamers upstairs. The other one's transitioned himself. It's going to be a Lim sitting inside of B1. Oh, quick hot mark there, so they know where he is now, though. More than likely going to be getting bullets from everywhere. Does he see the man? Oh, no! It was like, where's Waldo between these two? Finally, Tex makes a flick, removes the Lim's head for him. Allows him some headspace to think about that one.
Big misread from Alems, possibly misidentified Tex as one of his teammates, or something else weird just going on in his mind right there. He looks basically right at Tex, but just doesn't make the mental connection.
More than likely that dust from that impact grenade. Happens to the best of us, not able to see through the debris when you do soft destruction. Concussions pour in through the garage, trying to prevent anyone from Bandit tricking, but obviously no Bandit. Shaiko's still here, though, gets traded out after getting a kill. So for the time being, it is all Fnatic on man count, but we do still have Renshiro up. It could change that at any moment in time with this all. The 81 bullets, only need one magazine to wipe out an entire squad. Fnatic working the drones inside a garage. They want to go for the same thing. Mentalist gets down by a goo mine upstairs. Magnet playing things safe, though, before he goes for this pickup. Picking him up now. Do still have the, actually, believe that's RXWD. It is RXWD. Bottom spiral, removes a head for himself. execution style, plenty of damage. Down to the 18-second mark. They need to put this diffuser down. Fall taking a little bit of damage, but it's all in the Evil Eye to try and light up Lusty underneath. Smoke's not doing anything. Lusty taking a ton of damage, has to abandon ship. Magnet gets a kill. Worried about the one on yellow. It's a trade though. Fnatic still one man up, but somebody's got to put that diffuser down, and they're going to be stuck on it for the time being. 0-0 hits. He's got to hold that F key. Renshiro needs to make his move now. He's looking for yellow. Tries to get the pressure. Pre-fires through, but doesn't win it. Virtue can do it all.
Virtue, a great hold and even better follow-up to end the round with a pistol. Great shots going to the cafeteria there as Fnatic squeak out another round for themselves, nearly tying up this second map against BDS. Show-stopping way. Great control exercise by them. Nearly lost it though. Did not have great intel or control of the backside closer to cafeteria and security. And again, we had this interesting misplay from Alems as he was not able to spot out Tex, who swung into the room a couple seconds before him and didn't even have the right angle to take the fight.
It's like the Spider-Man meme when they're both pointing at each other. That's exactly what it is. But for Fnatic, it seems that they've finally gotten back to their playstyle, playing much more fluid, playing faster, and honestly playing fun. You're seeing smiles on everybody's faces now, and that's what they need. When Fnatic has fun, they play well. I know it's a very basic thing, but it helps these guys out so very much. For these guys, every single round that they get is like a party. Every single time. It isn't straight faces, it's smiles all around.
And even more importantly, I mean, just ultimately, Fnatic are now winning their gunfights. Previously, we were seeing BDS take them without any trades whatsoever. 3, 4, sometimes even 5 kills straight from BDS without any response from Fnatic, but they're fighting much more evenly, especially when they take site control. Ever since we got past the first, I would say, round or two of this map, they've been a lot more efficient at that.
Do want to remind you guys, if you guys are just tuning in at home, this was actually 11 rounds up for BDS. I know that sounds strange, but they actually took Kafe 7-0, then got the rest of those rounds to make that 11 on Consulate before Fnatic started getting some pressure here. Finally, Fnatic bringing things back. We're almost tied up now. It seems so strange after what we first saw.
Another operator coming into the pool here for Magnet as he's going to jump onto the Twitch, having a very, very powerful primary gun. EF2 there. There's some delay right now for Fnatic as they're trying to get intel.
Are they? Oh my
goodness,
God, Magnet!
In they go, right behind the Clash as well. Not going to be able to knock her out so easily, however. Tex finds the first pickup. Shaiko there to trade it out. Shaiko in a very tough spot right now, trying to keep his teammates alive and avoid Magnet, and he failed to do the latter of those two. Shaiko goes down. The Clash still holding the line at yellow.
Diffuser!
And Diffuser is going down from Lusty in the sight. They succeeded it. Hop out the window. Long gone is Fnatic, and now they can jump on Repel and hold their post-plant angles. A 3v3. The Clash, so here's the prop, can use her shield while it's on her back, and they can defuse from it. Does he have the angle to kill? Yes, he does! Down goes the Clash, but at the same time, out comes the last man alive for BDS, but it's not going to be able to hold on. Fnatic taken on a hot breach.
What the hell is that? We're hot breaching on the invite stage. There's a hammer behind you guys, for God's sakes. This is insane. Well, that's definitely got some energy back in the building. How you guys doing?
Fnatic.
Oh, yeah, as I'm sure you were just gonna say, Fnatic, hot breaches in sight, gets a plant down that no one saw, just swung every single window. I want to watch this replay.
First was Tex to take the initial fight. And again, this site is such a smart move from Fnatic as there's nobody that's going to be looking at those windows that early on in the round. You leave the players off that site because it's almost near suicide for the attackers to swing in so haphazardly. But they decide to go for it anyway, and it works out beautifully from Fnatic. Some great attempts at the same time, specifically from Shaiko, to try and control the situation from the defender zone POV, but it's just too much, too fast. BDS can't properly communicate just the chaos that's going on around it, and they completely swarm the site.
Here's the issue now, though. That's the resetting round for Fnatic. That whole come up to this point, this is what they needed to push them over the edge. For Fnatic now, it's equal. This is 5-5, it's practically 0-0. If they win 2 more rounds, they obviously take Consulate, which was BDS's pick. So, this is a very, very dangerous road that BDS is going down right now, though. We honestly could have just switched sides amongst this, where BDS is now trying to figure out exactly what Fnatic's going to do. But Fnatic with this crazy playstyle is just making things work.
So as we move deeper into our next round here, the 11th round, we've only got 2 left, including this one, before we end up in a potential OT situation, or one of these 2 teams will close out. They're able to win 2 in a row. It's definitely been a bit more of a mixed bag in terms of who's been closing out the rounds, but the trend certainly favors Fnatic. Taking a look at the last couple of fights. Tex waiting for his first engagement, but no, it's going to be Mentalist instead that catches the cross from RXWD. He'll be caught on a rotate.
This is something they had a lot of trouble with Kafe on. They were not able to cut these rotates off early enough, and this time it gets them their first kill. RX trying to peek outside, gets punished. That TCS G12 can only do so much, my friend. Fnatic, though, set up already to really go for this site, burning utility out, making sure that the ADSs can't catch this frag grenade. Magnet's out of nades now, though, but more than likely could have gotten a pest. Shaiko gonna take a little bit of damage as he's working his way in. They're trying to get this top control in order to get this execute down on lobby. Shaiko's shifted his way to grass though. Magnet repels back up. Still have a minute and a half remaining here as they're still looking for intel on site.
In the meanwhile though, as intel continues to evade the members of Fnatic, BDS not doing, well, scratch that. I was about to say BDS not doing too much to try and resist this either, but Renshiro gets himself onto a good angle outside of the windows and is able to take out Virtue, who is rotating closer to his team's spawn. He also tries to take the duel against the player on Repel from Fnatic, but has not been able to catch much from that. In fact, he's now lost 25 HP. Here comes the plan attempt.
Here's the
Fnatic
issue.
walking
Lem's
in.
underneath. Diffuser. Shaiko once again inside a circle.
We're going to see Shaiko potentially try to deny this a second time. He may not even have to. Rafal is also holding the angle from outside on the second floor, shutting down 2 more players, leaving it all up to Magnet in a 1v4 situation. Remember, he can plant it right here in this corner, but it would be suicide if he does. He's got to try and clear these players out before the timer runs out. And there's just so much room to cover. So many situations where he won't have control of it. The Nitro Cell going out as well, but it is a little bit too far flung. Does not connect onto Magnet. He's going to do a fast rotate over towards Visador and push in from there instead.
Magnet actually having a pretty damn good game. 10 kills right now through 10 rounds. Obviously into round 11. Needs 1 more to keep that at 1, and that's exactly where you want to be. If you're getting a kill around, you're always helping your team in some capacity or another. Magnet, first peek here, pre-fires, but he gets eaten alive by Rafal and that Alda.
BDS going to call for a timeout right here. Try and recenter themselves. They're about to go into, well, the apex round of this tournament, potentially for them, if they can close it out. Such a strong performance with a few bumps in the road here on map number 2, but overall, amazing step up from BDS to try and claim this in 2-0 fashion. And they're only 1 more round away from doing it, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the last round, here's the catch. If they allow Fnatic to trade it, then we go to OT, where the sides are going to switch every single round, and it's just a best of 3 between rounds at that point.
The people that choose the map get to choose the OT side, so BDS, it's going to be all up to them. But now we're getting into game, just waiting for the reveal phase to go through. Actually, the timeout to end here, but we should just about be done with that. Couple last words and then toss it on over to the match. For the time being, though, currently locked into console meeting for BDS. We'll see if they can hold that down. Pretty regular setup, actually. Maybe teasing a 6 pick. Obviously, no one checked in just yet as we're waiting to get unpaused here between these 2. But for BDS, that was a saving round. Fnatic was on an absolute roll, and they needed to shut that down quickly to even have a chance at this 2-0.
Lems leading the discussion while they were in pause right there. Lems told us at the beginning of the tournament he's incredibly happy to be on this team, to be on a team where he's able to communicate in his first language. And he's really been thriving in that. Not so much from him personally in terms of frag potential so far in this match specifically, but in the group stage and in our earlier playoff stage where we started the bracket off, he has been thriving and has been one of the mainstays for mid-round impact overall on BDS. Same can be said for entries as well before we got to the last 2 games that this team has played. This one and the one versus MIBR, where Shaiko finally started to take over in that department.
BDS is playing so well right now. Look at those stats across the board from the defenders currently. 6, 5, and 5, 12 kills. It's ridiculous what they're able to pull off from every single position, especially with the limbs. I mean, 5 assists, doing it all for his team, just trying to make it to where they win. Who cares about the stats as long as there's a W in that area? So BDS once again going to be on the top floor here, and Shiro playing actually a little bit aggressive here. Pulse is one of the most influential operators when it comes to Consulate. He can actually see through every single floor except the ceiling, obviously people being on the roof, when it comes to sitting downstairs. If he's on any other floor, then you can kind of see the roof depending on where you are in the map. So he can have a lot of influence over a round just because of that sheer intel gain from that cardiac sensor.
Tex, meanwhile, waiting for anyone who might overextend towards that yellow stairs window to try and punish it. Flashes are all going in just to burn out the ADS utility that's sitting on the inside so that they can deploy better grenades, such as, well, an actual frag grenade or potentially smokes, which will block off the POV for the defenders and allow Fnatic to make more forward progress here. Players are going to start moving up on Repel now that they've completed that task and taking a little bit of roof control potentially first. If they can find one of these guys from the sky, it's basically an angle work here that they have to pull off and try to isolate out every single position that one of the defenders could be hiding in that stairwell and in the connecting bathroom room. They're able to take those players out, and they have an easy path in. If not, they're potentially going to be swinging in their own deaths if they try to take control. Tex finally strikes, though, is able to catch Rafal, but it's not over by yellow stairs. It's instead at exterior gardens, where Rafal is going to fall to Tex, holding an angle, potentially catching yet another player on a rotate.
One of the freshest faces to Fnatic, and definitely fresh to invite. Tex getting the big impact kill here. All see some feetsies, but it's Renshiro with the ump to kill Mentalist. That's a huge impact. That's going to be one of their hard breachers gone, and actually the most important one for this site. You don't see very many exothermic charges going down on the console office site, as you actually have to approach walls and more than likely are going to get shot. Those X-Kairos make things a lot safer, so not having those anymore, it's a very, very big deal.
Trying to still catch the clash, which has been the big issue. Other players, though, not so much. Magnet has found yet another pickup, eliminating the Pulse from the defensive side, played by Renshiro. Now, though, Shaiko rotating in, catches the first attempt for Tex to actually take yellow stairs away from RXWD and the rest of BDS. He'll be cautious with that hole in the floor, and nearly gets caught off on the rotate by a player holding on the console windows. Nonetheless, no damage done. RXWD still a rock in the way of Fnatic that they cannot get past. There's no way to easily swing past a clash head on. You can melee her, but you're gonna take a lot of damage in the process. Speaking of damage, finally RXWD will be caught out by Virtue. In the meanwhile, though, Alens just finds himself a kill. Shaiko with one more. Lusty is all that remains. He'll open up a plant angle for himself, but it's in a 1v1, and he's out of time. All Alens has to do is deny it right now, and that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. BDS take control 2-0 in this series, knocking out the last APAC representation here at SI 2020, and continuing on with the dream for Europe.
APAC has been snuffed out, and Europe stands tall with their last defender from their region. A great showing from Fnatic when it came down to the wire, but just not enough early on in order to force us to map 3. Congratulations to BDS, and a great showing from Fnatic on that second map.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not enough being shown in map number 1 gives their opponents that very simple 7-0 1-up advantage for them, and from that point forward, not only do they have that advantage, but they have a massive amount of confidence brewing into their favor. The streak continues on here into Consulate. Remember, at one point they were leading it 4-0, and ultimately that advantage just proved too strong to get past. We've got an interview ready with our winners down on the stage, so let's send it down there.
Thanks so much, guys. Alems, at the beginning of this match, many of the experts were saying that they thought they favored Fnatic to win. What didn't they know about you coming into this match?
Oh, sorry?
What did they not know about your team? What were they counting out? What did you show us that you actually knew how to do well? I mean, that first match, you were so dominant.
I don't think we did something specific. We just play whole game.
They also mentioned that a lot of times they thought that sometimes you rely on specific players, but when you all show up doing your best together in a symphony, then it really works out for you. Do you feel like that's what happened here?
Yeah, I think Shaiko did a lot on the first map, but after we managed to all play as a team, and that's what happened.
I also wanted to say, I saw in chat someone said that BDS becomes stronger every match. So your fans are seeing you. Do you have anything to say to your fans?
Merci la France.
All right, guys, one more time for BDS. Back to you, Des. Thank you very well done.
Thank you so much, Anna. And this is pretty heartbreaking. Dev, Marta, Apac's last hope, they are now going home. They beat them like they stole something, man. What was going on with Fnatic?
I really don't know what happened on Kafe. Map number 2, we did see a flash of greatness once they started to make that comeback, and I was really, I mean, you and me.
We were excited. We were yelling in the crowd.
We were getting hyped for it, and I think that really started when Fnatic took their tactical pause after BDS had won 11 rounds in a row. They take their tac pause, they followed that up with 2 clutches, and after that, Mentalist, Magnet, all the boys, they were so hyped up. But that said, BDS had already extended their lead so far, they didn't let that potential reverse sweep get to them, and like Alem said, BDS just played their game and they're damn good at it.
Yeah, Emzo, BDS looked like the playmakers that we first saw from Fnatic. It was like BDS were saving strats and whatever it was until this type of matchup. Everybody was a playmaker. Who didn't die in the first map?
Oh, let me...
Was it Renshiro?
I think it was Renshiro.
Or Rafal.
He didn't die the
I think it was
entire map.
insane. Rafal was nuts both. He was actually the top-rated player, which is a huge surprise to us because we were expecting him to be a lot lower. Everyone did their job.
Everybody now on BDS is starting to wake up, and this team is looking pretty formidable. As Europe's last team here, no G2, no Empire. BDS are actually looking like the better team here today.
I mean, to be honest, most of the rounds that Fnatic won were off of mistakes that BDS was making. Not necessarily that Fnatic were playing a lot better after the attack pause. They just were a little better collected and able to take advantage of a lot of that. Just small mistakes they make. There was that kind of hot breach round as well that caught a little bit by surprise, but that was a kind of a one-off sort of thing. Overall, BDS showed they had control and composure when they needed it at almost all times. You even saw RXWD, he was technically the lowest rated player on the team, still going off on this map. So if everyone can keep that up, I'm going to see a BDS that we didn't see the rest of the week.
Now for Fnatic, okay, this makes sense to me. They're not losers even though they lost. This team, they're really good. I really love the team change that they had, bringing in Tex. Mentalist did a fantastic job. But looking into the future, what's the expectations for this team now that they've made it this far in Six Invitational?
It's important to remember that this is a fairly new roster still. They had to rework 90% of what they do when they brought on Tex and Mentalist. Wow. And they're still getting used to that. Tex in particular, he played for a much lower tier ANZ Pro League team before this, and I think they're still figuring out how they want to play their game. And coming to this event, it's a huge experience. I know they were gunning for the win, but I think they'll take a lot out of this. And looking forward into 2020, I think we expect them to remain the #1 APAC team and potentially push internationally further for those championships.
Yeah, because we don't talk about APAC much. We always hear about NA and EU, a little bit about LATAM, and then APAC is like, we'll see them at 6.
I mean, we're like, well, we'll see Fnatic.
Yeah, we'll see Fnatic.
I mean, we've missed them a few times, but that's almost a guarantee.
Maybe Nora, maybe Fnatic, who knows?
Yeah, so because of that, we also, kind of take as a foregone conclusion, don't pay a ton of attention. Maybe we didn't see Tex coming, but I think that they showed enough over the week that at this point, BDS did see him coming. My biggest problem is Tex is looking like a very one-dimensional Ashe player. And while he tried some other ops, overall, if he can expand what he can do for the team the way Virtue has done, because Virtue was in that same place before, then obviously this team comes back much stronger. That's really the biggest weakness I see from them, because when he's losing these entries, they're losing a lot of control early. And on defense, yeah, he's had some plays that he could make occasionally, but he's also getting caught out a lot. So I think if they could expand with him, as you said, rework those strats, the roles that they're playing, Mentalist being new to the team as well, I think this team will come back so much stronger. This will not be the last time we see them on stage, but it will be for this weekend.
You know what I want to see from Fnatic? I want to see some more energy, man. Mentalist, he was the hype man for that team. And it wasn't just Tex losing gunfights. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give Tex a pass for now. He's never played on a stage this big before. He's never played against teams this good before. But even Virtue getting turned on by the guy in the main lobby and everything else, Fnatic just wasn't there. But enough about them. BDS, who's your MVP?
It's pretty easy to say, I think, that Shaiko was a standout player. Yes, I want to credit players like Renshiro. Even RX, though, he was rated the lowest in terms of stats. But Shaiko, how can you say it? This man is a god.
Absolutely. So Rafael had better stats than him, but Shaiko's entry 7-2, that's big because every time Shaiko stepped foot into the building, map 1 and 2, he was always there to get the first blood, and that just put his team up in so many numbers, man.
Yeah, I mean,
they had no answer for him.
Rafael's rating was only higher because he died less, is what it came down to, really.
Yeah, and Shaiko had a 4.0 KD on the first map. That's the kind of stats that you get if you're a diamond smurfing in Copper.
4-point KD.
Yeah, 4.0 KD, no joke. And Shaiko, something I will say for him is it's not just like he's playing selfishly, he's playing to pad his stats.
Yeah.
There were rounds on Consulate near the end there where we saw RX trying to hold yellow stairs, and Fnatic really put RX onto the pump on the Clash. Shaiko was always there to come in and support and help the Clash hold down those yellow stairs. And moments like this where he just runs into CEO and really puts a thorn in
that shouldn't
side.
happen.
No, that really shouldn't be happening. Where Shaiko can just take a gunfight that is unfavored, but he knows he's going to win it.
Yes. Also, Alims and everyone else on this team are stepping up. We were actually laughing at Alims' play style. He plays really slow. He waits for people to cross lanes, and he'll pick up a 2K or a 3K here or there. Alims was explosive, especially on Consulate.
I mean, I feel like they just all looked like they had something to prove. They were all not in a way of like, I'm going to take really risky, dumb things. It was they were going to take advantage of every opportunity they were given. Every inch Fnatic took, they were going to take at least a foot and mostly take their feet off.
Yeah, they took a yard.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really everyone's stepping up. I mean, I don't know if they can keep that up, to be honest, because the dominating play we saw was because everyone on the team was stepping up and shining. That's hard to do consistently.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they made it this far. If they can keep that up, as we said, their last hope for EU. But at the same time, we've seen how NA can be. This is
don't jinx it, Imzo.
This is
don't jinx it. We have 3 tries now.
That's what I mean. We have 3 tries. Who am I even jinxing at this point, right? we got NA's getting it. We know they're in the grand finals.
Right.
There. It's just a question whether EU can make it that far.
All right.
What I will say though for BDS, if we want to dive more into like the analytical side of how these guys actually won that, I want to say we talk a lot about their defenses because that's when Shaiko's running around on Jaeger, but their attacks, you really need to credit how they managed to go up. What was it, 5-1 on the first half of Consulate?
Yeah.
Fnatic, they came out of map number 1, they really struggled, 0-7, not getting a single round, and I like the idea from Fnatic. They wanted to play hyper aggressive, and BDS read them like a book. There were so many moments when BDS would find frags onto the Fnatic players while they were trying to rotate, while they were trying to get aggressive. So many moments when, for example, there was one particular round where Fnatic were roaming on the top floor for a garage defense, and they decided they were going to hold on as long as they can and then drop down the CEO hatch. We saw a player, I believe it was a Lems, all the way outside, way out in spawn, looking through the piano windows, just waiting for that drop, and that was a freebie for them. That wasn't the only occasion. This was happening left, right, and center for BDS.
I love analytics. I love deep diving strategies. And Imzo, you have a telestrator in front of you, man. What do you want to show us today?
I mean, I want to show part of what made that so effective was their anticipation, their crosshair placement, just the way they were on top of where the players were going to be. Time and time again, the angles that they played absolutely worked out here. We're going to take a look at, first off, Shaiko's ace and how that worked out for them. Once we get in the telestrator there, you can see, so in this position, he's already gotten 1 kill on Virtue. He's got a player here up on Skylight, which he's already in a dangerous position fighting. Players back here in red. Someone's even repelling back there on Piano, but he's totally on top of it. You can see as we go through this, he is absolutely on top of the angles, checking angle after angle after angle. You see fighting 3 different angles you can see right there. He's fighting not only the Skylight, but he's got a hole right there, the doorway right here, fighting all of them. You take a look at it from the top-down perspective as well. You can see, oops, sorry, this is the one. There we go.
Wrong replay, man.
Yeah, there's so many good ones, honestly. So this is from the top-down angle. You can see Shaiko all the way over here. He's in a super exposed spot to the Skylight, and players all over the place. They've got angles from so many different sidelines. You know, you've got this player right here. Once he comes around, you've got a player here. He's covering, as well as trying to cover from anyone covering in this way and into Christmas from Pixel Spot. But he's playing all of those angles absolutely lined up. Everyone's just walking into his shots because he's playing so many different angles at once. You even see towards the end of the round, he goes, you know what, I know where this last guy is now, and just pushes up aggressively to him. See him creeping up right there. Absolutely just pushing straight towards him. That's confidence, and that's anticipation of knowing where that, and you can see that as well from RXWD. This is the other one I was gonna show. That's what you saw for a second there. The way RXWD, he'd already got 2 kills. The way he lines this up here, he comes in and fires straight through the bomb. He's firing through a crack in the bomb, but he anticipates the doorway. It's the angles. They know where everyone is going to possibly be at. And that's why we saw so many wallbangs, pre-fires, kills like that, because they anticipated. If you even watched Shaiko's crosshair placement the whole match, he is on the edge of every doorway. He's on the top of every window. He knows where they're going to be before they know they're going to be there.
Now, the first highlight you showed on Telestrator, I actually wanted to point out, I love Mentalist, man, so don't get it wrong, all right, Dev Marta? Mentalist, actually, he had that round in the bag. He was on top of Skylight. He saw 2 players running around into that cigar doorway. He wasted both of his Capital fireboats, missed some shots, peppered a few of them in there, but he wasn't able to secure the kill, and then ultimately Shaiko shut him down.
Yeah, it's actually really difficult. Contrary to what you might think, it's really difficult to take fights from the Skylight, looking at the tight angles near the Skylight.
Yeah.
It's not so bad if you're looking into Freezer, but as a defender, you're actually favored in those gunfights because there's only 1 pixel where the attacker's head can be, so Shaiko can just pre-fire that. That said, yeah, there was definitely a bit of a lackluster.
They were running around.
To be mild.
He wanted to get killed, and he didn't kill him.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, even the long angles, the one in particular that I was impressed by Shaiko on that ace was he was really cautious of the opened walls between bar and piano, looking all the way into where that piano sits and the window, the player rappelling in from that. He was aware of that angle as well, so truly impressive. I really liked what we saw from Shaiko on defense, on both maps, to be honest.
On everything that they did. So BDS moves on, Europe stays alive, and we have an update on the bracket. Let's throw it up on the screen and take a look at who they will be playing next. They're going to be waiting for the winners of the second game of the day, the last game of the day, because we have a show match between Dark Zero Esports and NIP. How excited are you guys for that matchup?
I mean, after what we saw from BDS today, it was very impressive. It was far better than what we'd seen from them throughout the week. And obviously they spent the time yesterday that they had off really prepping for this, but now they've got to prep for the next opponent. They have some idea who it might be, but you got to prep for every opponent at this point. And they showed they were willing to prep and willing to do the work. And as the amount of opponents is reduced, they start to get better and better at that. So if they can keep up the gunning and top the strategy on top of that, their teams are just going to have to start to look at how do we counter that.
Yeah.
I would love to see how, if NIP do make it through Dark Zero, no, I know that's not guaranteed,
game, man.
but if NIP does, and we see BDS versus NIP, the way that BDS was countering the aggression from Fnatic, especially on a map like Consulate where we've seen NIP do so well in the past, I would love to see those 2 teams clash and see how those play styles intertwine.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that is it at the desk here today with me and these 2 beautiful guys. You're going to be a part of the show match, right? Yeah. Both of you.
Yeah, we're going to be
Have a good time.
All right, so we have a beautiful show match coming up soon in the last game of the day, NIP versus Dark Zero. We'll see you guys after the break.